tracking.
You get your ass up there and you press that tracking button now.
Track
it. I'll hit you in the back of the head with this shoe if you don't do it right.
God, the love we had when you got that first VCR with auto tracking.
Oh, right.
Or it was at least on the remote, and you're just like,
yeah.
Because then you didn't have to get up there with your little fingers and try, and God forbid that fucker broke off or something. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I said the F word the first 30 seconds of the show.
It happens. Hopefully we don't get the new YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember exactly. But
I don't know either.
Good afternoon, evening, whatever it is where you is.
Yes. Hello, fellow followers. Welcome to the Physical Media Show. With me tonight is Tom. Runner may or may not be joining us. We'll have to see how he is.
Running late.
Yay!
That wasn't very funny. I'm sorry. Yes, he's at his Best Buy. No, he's working.
Yeah, he's working.
Working for a living.
Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
Yes, indeed. So hopefully we'll see him. If not, it's just going to be a runner-free episode.
Yeah. And who knows? We may bring in Steven, delete the scenes just in case. Who knows? But I want to say hi to everybody in the chat right now that's been waiting on us. Hail deleted. Speaking of deleted scenes, Hail, how you doing, buddy? Stony One Kenobi, glad to see you here. And Hail Tim Hayes, nice to have you here as always. Walloween, hey to you as well. Let's see who else we got. Random Brad Creator, always glad to have you in the chat. I love seeing you there. Hail Cosmic Squirrel, glad to have you here as well. Let's see. Cool Gamer, welcome. Brian Barth, good to see you here too. Tyrell72, thank you for stopping on by, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy the show tonight. Who else we got? We got Inverse Opinion. How you doing? Hey, Joey. Cool Runnings is a good movie. I don't care what anybody says. That's a great movie.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the ride.
Does that have a Blu-ray?
Yeah, it's a Disney exclusive, though.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, I had to break down again, and I'm like, they got a couple titles I don't have yet, so I went and signed up again for the Disney Movie Club, because they finally got Black Cauldron on Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah.
Even though the 4K Master's out there in digital and on Disney Plus, but this is seemingly coming from the 4K Master, so there you go. A few other titles I hadn't had before, so I was like, all right, it's time to go back just to get. And this time I was lucky enough that they allowed me to get the Disney only exclusive titles for my intro package, because normally you're stuck with whatever they offer you in the deal. Because I've tried in the past to get the Disney only titles, unless they're in the offer, then you're fucked. But in this case, I actually was able to get the 4 titles that I wanted, so now it's going to be the struggle to find another 4 or 5 titles that I don't already have. Because that was one of the only reasons I've ever really been in the movie club, was just to get
the titles they won't release.
Yeah, or just catch up on ones that you missed, because that's the other plus side of that club. So, I mean, that's the sad part, is I can recommend this club for physical media fans. If you are, it is kind of worth it for various reasons. One of which is if you miss out on one of their titles when it's, available, the movie club gets all those. That's where they send all those returns to when they pull them from shelves. So then those people have, if you're a club member, you get a chance at getting them a little longer than you would say at, Best Buy or Walmart or what have you. And then, of course, the other side of it being the Disney only titles that are only available through there. And if you want to get them separate, usually you're going to spend 40, 50, 60 bucks. So you're like, fuck it, you might as well just be in the club. And then you can just get it for the regular price, or one of your early free or cheap titles or whatever.
Yeah, I get you. I've never really done it, but I've seen some titles on there
But they've got they've got all the Mighty Ducks are in their exclusive club. The Honey I Shrunk the Kids, the Three Musketeers. That was one of my ones I got in my recent one too. That was one that I noticed they finally got in there. Dick Tracy wasn't one of those. They got Flight of the Navigator in there now. So if you missed out on the, Imprint that did the other one?
Oh, yeah. Was it Umbrella or Imprint?
One of those two. Yeah. Yes. Well, it wasn't 4K, but it was a new 4K scan on 2K.
Yeah,
so I'm assuming my guess is this is the same scan. They just don't have the extra features. That's the only downside of these exclusives, is if they had any extra features on them before, 9 times out of 10 they don't carry over. Sometimes they do. Most of the time it's just the animated features, but all the live action features I've gotten, like the Love Bug, etc., don't have all the special features that were on the DVDs. So you might want to hang on to your old DVDs just in case for those kind of things. But yeah, like the Honey I Shrunk the series, all those movies are on there. Like a lot of the features that you would ask yourself, why isn't that out on Blu-ray yet from Disney? It is probably, but it's in that collection, like the Swiss Family Robinson movies, the Ample Dumpling Gang, the No Mobile, which was one I just got recently. That's another one that they finally got out. The Disney Dumpling Club. Yeah, they should call it that. Like, God, what is some of the other ones? The Black Hole, which is one that people are popular for people. The Treasure Island, the original, was one that popular that people like that's in there.
Event Horizon is the sequel to Black Hole. So
that's what I've heard. There's another one that is very popular with people that I got off there too. Not the Black Hole, but another one, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Yeah. It's a lot of their earlier live action classics. That's sometimes the only way you can get them.
I get you. I need to try that maybe. I also welcome Corley and Rogue and Anthony Draven as well. And Victor Fontaine, glad to see you here as well too. I got everybody. But yeah, that's something I've always wanted to try, but then again, it's like, yeah, you got these on Blu-ray, but please just give them to me, and then I think that's how I get them. That's how I should. You know what? We should send Robert an invite, because if Runner don't show up, that'll be the third time that Robert has come on, and Runner hasn't been here.
That's one I'll take carte blanche on.
We ought to do that.
I usually do anyway, but tonight was just one of those, I didn't do it yet, and I just did it now. So if he sees it, it's kind of late for him, but we'll see.
We'll see. But that poor Runner, man, he's been dying to stream with him.
There's a few people we got to get back. We got to have Austin back on. That was fun.
Yeah, we got to have him back on, definitely.
I'm sure there's a few others. Like I said, Tim's in the chat there.
I would love to have Chris Gore on one day. Yes, Tim Hayes and Steven. I'd love to have you guys back
Chris
on
I've
here.
talked to. I think there's the conflict with Chris is this is usually one of the nights he sees premieres.
Yeah. We may have to set up a special night when we're all available for the Physical Media Club, like or show special, like whatever night we can all get
something
free.
Going on Wednesdays anyway. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, I think maybe that's it. But I've tried before several times with Chris, so yeah. But what did we have for any news, rumors, anything coming up?
Well, the biggest one, which I sort of talked about, is National Lampoon's Vacation is coming to 4K probably from Warner Brothers, which that was a no-brainer considering the trailer and everything. Let me get out this thing here real quick so I can go over the list, because it wasn't nothing really major, just a bunch of like small releases here and there. So I'll get out my list for you guys and I'll read off a couple, see if they interest you, if it works here. But yeah, like that was one I was most excited about, was National Lampoon's Vacation. Haven't read the digital bits yet. I didn't see if there was anything new in that. But Serpico is coming to 4K, 50th anniversary from Kino Lorber.
Of course, because I just bought it like not too long ago. Because remember when I brought it on here?
Yeah, I remember that. Matter of fact, I just turned this on and looked at it just now. It's just a release today.
Yeah, that was what I retweeted it earlier. Yeah. And here's one though that I'm happy. Speaking of, that got announced today, or at least rumored today, or whatever. I was going to buy these. I've had them in my cart for a while, but they've only been available overseas on Blu-ray. But it looks like Studio Canal is releasing them on 4K digital, according to Discfather, on April 26, 2023. So this year, in just a few months, The Three Musketeers and The Four Musketeers.
I was just about to bring those up.
Yeah, because and I'm glad I waited, because I almost imported them, because Kino has had the third one forever, and I wanted to get it, and I've seen it a few times on their sales, but I'm like, I don't have the first two. So I guess it's not rumor anyway. It's actual. It's not a rumor. It's actual announcement or whatever. But so I'm happy to hear that. So I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad I didn't buy them. So that I guess evened out. And now I can get 3.
Now you get all 3. I've been meaning to get them too, but that's I've kind of held off on them. Now I can get them all in 4K. So there's rumors. Well, it looks like there's an Amazon. I don't know what country this is. It's probably France. I just haven't looked it up. But it looks like House 1 through 4 are coming to 4K sometime soon. There's an Amazon link set up for them.
Actually, it was like an Amazon Germany or something like that. I think
Yeah,
it was.
Germany.
I clicked on it, and then it was like gone.
Oh, it's gone already.
Well, and I was talking to my buddy about it because my buddy's a huge fan of those.
Yeah, I like the first 2.
And I said probably what it was is they're just getting a placeholder ready for it. But I would not be surprised if that's going to be the case. But I'd imagine maybe Arrow would probably do them, or I think that was who did it, right?
Yeah, Arrow did all of them. The first 2
they
was
probably
only
scanned
US.
them in 4K. Then I'd imagine is what they did.
Yeah.
But
and then
I'm
that
surprised it's all 4. I would think more so they just do the first 2 because I don't think they did new scans of 3 and 4.
Well, they did release that the 4 set that was supposed to be one region, but it was all region free. Remember?
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying is I think 3 and 4 came from older scans.
Oh,
but I think 1 and 2 came from new 4K scans is what I'm saying. So I wonder if the report is just being misconstrued because that was the other thing when they released that. They were able to get the rights to release 1 and 2 in the US through Arrow, but not 3 and 4.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Because Shout still owns the release rights for 3, and that's what I heard is they had the same scan Shout did. And then I don't know if maybe they did a new scan for 4, but I didn't think so. I haven't watched it yet.
Well, the first 2, the only ones.
I only watched the first 3 or whatever. Yeah, and I started watching 4, and I remembered how bad it was, and I shut it off.
Yeah, I'm good. I got the first 2 from the Arrow. I'm good for that. But if they release them on 4K, I'll probably upgrade them. But yeah.
Joey says Tom single-handedly karma funded its release. I don't know if it might be just karma, but sometimes I think it's literal funding. Because you'll be surprised when I go on some of these like buying sprees, all of a sudden like a third of the titles I buy because they're like going out of print or whatever or hard to find, all of a sudden they get fucking re-released.
With a new 4K transfer.
Or it's something, and I don't dream that I have the reach or the push like RLM does, but there's just once in a great while where there's certain titles I'll and you know what I'm talking about, where I'll mention and then all of a sudden they'll get announced. But it's like usually they're a little bit more well known, not the lesser known ones like Red Letter Media does, but yeah, like Vinegar Syndrome and Blue Underground and those guys literally make a whole, like they sit there and pay attention to what Red Letter Media put out, and then they'll try and get those rights all the
time. But yeah, that yes, that's what I figured. I'm pretty sure they were 4K scans. Yeah. There, like I said, there really wasn't much. Keanu Lorber's releasing a movie called Pretty Baby, starring Brooke Shields from 1978.
Yeah. 2 more lesser known Akira Kurosawa films, or at least to me anyway. They might be more well known to others, but we're getting looks like Akiru. Actually, that one's pretty well known. Akiru is the one. Stray Dogs was the one I don't know Stray Dogs. I know that there's an American film with that name. I don't know if this is the original that's based on, and if that's the case, cool. But they're both coming from 4K from Tahoe, so I don't think they're going to be U.S. releases, but I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the only other major 4K ones I saw anyway.
It looks like the disc.
Shrek the Third.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like Dawn of the Disc has found some of the Arrow titles that are supposed to be being released Friday for April. Speaking of, Asian cinema, which I need to get into more Asian cinema myself. Looks like coming to Arrow in April, Heart of the Dragon from 1985, starring Jackie Chan and Sammo Hwang, or however you say it, is coming. That looks pretty interesting. And Lover's Lane coming with a new 2K restoration from a 4K scan, original 35mm camera negative from 1999. I've never heard of that one. I don't think I've seen that one. That was it. I think that's what he leaked. That's all been leaked already. And the Assassination Bureau from 1969. Never heard of that one. But that and let's see, what else did we have? Duck Dodgers, the complete series, is coming from Warner Brothers on Blu-ray. Look at that. That's one of the Warner Brothers cartoons that's getting a full set.
Yeah, it's a newer-ish show. It's from 2003, 2005.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember it. My kid watched it.
Yeah, I think my nephew watched it too for a little bit.
Yeah.
Some Warner Archive titles coming in March. Camille and I'll Cry Tomorrow. If you get from 1936 to 1955, if you guys want to get into those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Old Way finally has a release date. Looks like just Blu-ray for now, but it's a movie I just saw recently. It's coming out on February 21st.
Nice.
With Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
I actually liked it. It was all right. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah. Gallipoli looks like it's also coming from Paramount, which would be an early Mel Gibson film.
That's cool.
What else we got here? I Want to Dance with Somebody, the Whitney Houston biopic.
I heard
comes
that
out
was not a
February
good
21st.
one.
Yeah, I've heard it's not very good too. And then Scream and Shout Factory have announced Athena, March or Die, and Dance with Death, and Dance of the Damned Heading, a double header.
I know. I'm thinking about buying the Dance
or
of the
Escape
Death.
to Athena, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking about buying Dance with the Death and Dance of the Damned. I watched the trailers for those, and those look like my movies. Plus, Dance with the Death is legitimately the same exact movie as the one set I bought, Strip to Kill, and the one with Brad Dourif. Strip to Kill is the exact same movie as Dance with Death. Other than the woman being a police officer who goes undercover as a stripper, it's a news reporter who goes undercover as a stripper to catch a serial killer. So it's the same movie.
Well, and then there's an interesting documentary coming out. This one I'm not so sure about, but I'll definitely want to check it out. It's called Living with Chucky.
Oh, yeah. I meant to bring that up to you.
Yeah, it's coming from Kira Elise Gardner, who is the daughter of Tony Gardner, who is one of the puppeteers, the main puppeteer, actually, of the Child's Play series. And it has all kinds of interviews. And it explores the iconic Child's Play franchise through a personal and social perspective. So there you go. So that looks like it might be interesting. Interviews including, of course, all the main players of the franchise and like Don Mancini, Brad Dourif, Jennifer Tilly, of course, Tony Gardner, David Kirshner, Marlon Wayans, John Waters, Abigail Breslin. So yeah, sounds like it might be interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that the other day and see if you've seen it.
I haven't, but I just heard about it recently. So
yeah,
we did get a new Vinegar Syndrome release from their Peakorama collection. Like It Hot and Sweet Young Foxes are coming to 4K. So there you go.
Sweet Young Foxes. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 4K porn, baby.
Oh yeah.
And that looks to be about it as far as major stuff. You're right. Like it's been a pretty slow week as far as that goes.
Exciting yet, just yet. But I have heard things about the Knight Rider box set, Turbine. I've heard it. I've heard that looks good. So I've heard that.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing one. Of course, I already bought the Mill Creek one or whatever.
Yeah, I got the Mill Creek one myself.
Maybe I can get a hold of some people and see about that.
Yeah, you check it in because 4K Cinema says it looks great. I've heard it looks great. I have. What's up, Gil Burrows? Everybody show Gil Burrows some love up in the chat. He enjoys watching the show, and he said it brings him some really great joy to watch it every week between us. So, thank you, Gil. Glad to see you catching it live tonight. So that's awesome. Oh yeah, I did see that, the Cinderella. I did see that on the digital.
Oh yeah, we did miss that one. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's coming.
That's a big one.
It's not something I'm really. That's why it slipped my mind. I don't really care for,
I don't, but I'm curious to see what some of these older Disney films are going to look like in 4K. So,
yeah. Hopefully they turn out good.
and I'd rather them get some of the lesser ones out of the way now. I mean, they've already done like Little Mermaid and some of the other ones, but yeah, we'll see. This is one of the classic. I think this is one of the first, if not the first, of the classic Disney era ones to get a 4K treatment.
Oh yeah, not even Snow White yet.
That's what I mean. Like none of the old classics have gotten any of the 4K yet.
Interesting. Yeah, that's where I think I saw that 4K cinema, the unboxing on YouTube. I haven't watched the video, but it's been recommended to me. So yeah, I've heard good things about that.
So what do you say?
Yeah, what do you say? You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Sure, I can go first.
All right,
where do I want to start this
for the night?
Well, I've been watching a lot of Yellowstone lately.
Yes, sir.
A lot of the Taylor Sheridan shows, Tulsa King and whatnot. So I figured I might as well get familiar with some of his films. So I started with Sicario, which was a big Oscar darling from director Denis Villeneuve.
Where's Runner at? Denis Villeneuve.
It's Villeneuve.
My favorite director.
And it was all right. It was a little pretentious. Some of it just didn't seem as clear and straightforward as I'm used to from Taylor Sheridan, so I'll chalk that up to Dylan.
I would say that's more up to him, yeah.
Because otherwise, the story's pretty simple, but it's like he overcomplicates things, it feels like.
Yeah. I watched it. I enjoyed it, but you're right. It's honestly, it's probably the weakest of his movies. Where he really hits his stride is A Hell or High Water and Wind River. So once you get to those two, I think you'll find did he write Sicario Part 2? I don't remember that one.
That I don't know. I'd have to look.
Yeah, because I don't know. I have to look on that one. But yeah, it's got its moments. Josh Brolin's all right. It's got a lot of his usual. A lot of the people, he tends to work with those people throughout. You'll notice them in his movies and even on his TV shows. A lot of them are on his TV shows now. But yeah, it's all right. It's got a hell of an ending that's just like it sits on you,
Kinda. I mean, to me, it kind of felt like a lot of what they made the chick go through most of the movie, she would have gotten over in the first 15, 20 minutes of any normal film.
Yeah.
It just kind of feels... It just feels a little overly pretentious, not like in a sense of like, oh God, pretentious, just a smidge over, like, you got a good story here, but don't rub it in our face. And I didn't like, I didn't really like Emily Blunt's character. I just didn't. That was the biggest problem with the movie. I mean, she just...
I know I kind of think she's an unreliable protagonist. Whereas
yes.
It's
like why do you keep working against yourself? Exactly. Sorry.
Yeah. Maybe that's why she is not in, honestly, maybe that's why she's not in the second one. Maybe she just was the piece that didn't quite fit. I agree with that.
Steven said he wrote the second one too.
Yeah, he wrote this. But I believe that that was his first movie he wrote, his big that got him. So
yeah,
there's some growing pains in there. It has moments, and I would say
he co-wrote this too. I believe. I don't think this was by himself.
I don't think he was like the main. Yeah. Plus, Denis Villeneuve or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah,
he can be a little pretentious. So
yeah, you can tell. That's what I'm saying. You can definitely tell he's taking what was clearly a very simple story and overanalyzed it a little too much. Who was Kaluuya? Was that the black guy?
Yeah, that's the guy from.
He was all right. I didn't mind his character as much because actually, his character is like finally somebody fucking just flat out. He's like, "What the fuck? We're not doing anything going forward until you tell us what the fuck's going on." Like he finally said. Yeah. It's like, to me, like that scene almost made her character even more weak. Like that's the problem. Is like you're presenting this character like she's supposed to be some badass agent, but yet she's meandering and acting like a chick who's not sure she wants to fuck a guy through the whole movie. And it just really, I just didn't like her character. I just didn't. And again, it's probably not her fault. It's just the way the character was written. She's a very wishy-washy kind of fucking character. And maybe you're right, Colorian Rogue, but like, and I'm not trying to say if anybody who likes it is wrong. It just, to me, maybe I had too high of expectations going into it. But I mean, clearly, like, yeah, that's the other thing is Benicio is the Sicario. Like, he's the true star of the film, if you want to look at it that way. Like, he's the baseline of the picture. Like, what they're doing is facilitating him to be able to do his job. And nothing she really does adds to the movie. Like, I'm trying to go back and think through the story. I'm like, does she really do anything other than when they force her to sign that paper? No.
No.
Not really.
Yeah.
She makes everything difficult for everybody around her, really. It's like the ultimate Karen through the whole fucking movie. And I'm like, can this bitch just once work with... This is why I don't like working with women.
Just listen to Rowan. Yeah.
They got a question every fucking thing. And not only do they question it, they don't get right to the question. It's 20 questions to get to the question, you know. That's why I didn't mind, I guess, Kaluuya, or however you say his name, so much as the character in the film, because he's just like, okay, what the fuck is going on? You know? Just straight up, what is the deal here, you know?
Yeah. There you go. He said Blunt was just vanilla and Kalu thought he was the boss of this situation. One needed to go. Maybe. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's you can see there's something there with him. Yeah, but I agree with you. Her character was kind of the ultimate Karen in that movie, and maybe it was against going trope with a strong female lead or whatever, but at the time you're just like, can you just please just listen to these people that seem to have been doing this job for a lot longer than you're doing it right now?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, normally they got the perfect setup for a situation like you're the best of the best. Now the best of the best of the best wants you. You know, that kind of a situation, right? Like that's a typical, right. Okay. You've already established that this chick is like really good at her job. We've seen the opening scene, what happened there. Like that was a really good setup. Okay, I get it. And then they even point out that she's the one that has all the experience. Her partner's green. But then he comes in and he's a better cop than she is. Because she plays typical woman bullshit of dancing around the real fucking truth of it all and really being wishy-washy. 1 minute she's in, 1 minute she's out. She's hot, then she's cold. She's yes, and then she's no.
She's a woman.
Exactly. And I'm like, are you fucking just, you know, because to me, it was just distracting from the rest of the story. I'm sorry. That was just I sound like I hated the movie. I didn't. I enjoyed it, but that to me felt like it drawed away from what could have been a much better film. Had it been, okay, these two cops are getting drawn into this world, and it's not, and maybe it was partially, I was like, okay, this is not what I've done with this story. Considering the kind of characters you're setting up with her and the black guy, was like, her partner, you know, it's like, clearly these are people who want to do this shit. Why are they resistant? It should be about them going too far, right? Or being pushed and pushed and pushed. And then, you know, basically at the end, them realizing, oh, they're not even going nearly as far over the edge as Benicio's character, for instance. Mm-hmm. You know, and the whole idea that, like, it's like he didn't, like, they just couldn't understand of what he was doing. It's like, it's pretty simple. I mean, fucking, he's told you 10 times, my job is to disrupt the system, Josh Brolin said. He's like, we don't make a difference. He's like, we can't, you know, unless you can stop, you know, X amount of people from daily drug use. This is the best, you know, action we got. I get it. Like, disrupt things. And she just goes against them. So it's like, it makes it difficult. And then almost gets herself killed in the process. So she just makes her look stupid. Mm-hmm. Like, because I'm not even a cop, never been trained. And I'm even sitting here going, what the fuck are you doing, lady? Get the fuck out of there.
Exactly.
Like, now they know who you are. You dumb shit.
She was the weakest point. I agree with you, because I think if you really honestly, and it's not to offend anyone, but if you were to removed her from the movie, it probably would have been a better movie. And I don't think I've actually seen Sicario Part 2, Day of the Soldado or whatever, but I've heard that's a bit better focused of a story. So
yeah, don't go in the bank, you dumb shit. There's cameras everywhere. Let's just broadcast who we fucking are while we're at it.
Exactly.
And I mean, this is mainly just from my instinct from watching Narcos, right? Which this is
Mhm.
kind of loosely about, the whole thing, right?
Mm.
And I probably will check out Sicario too, but I'm not going to buy it this time before I see it. I blind bought Sicario from the Black Friday sale, so will I ever watch it again? Not likely. It's just one of
I,
those.
I
Yeah.
honestly, I can't wait
She
to.
aggravated me so fucking much.
Honestly, I cannot wait till you get to Hell or High Water and Wind River because that's. I would argue that those two movies are the basis for everything he's doing now on Yellowstone, 1883, Tulsa King, Meredith of Kingstown, all that. I think those two movies really set up the tone of where he wanted to go because Hell or High Water is just it's an amazing movie as far as I'm concerned. And Wind River, Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen, it's nice to see them play people and not Marvel characters, if you know what I mean. And nothing against those characters, but it's a really great story and sad, and
Oh,
I
it's
just
free
really
right
enjoy
now on
it.
Vudu with ads, actually.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was actually just $9.99 on Blu-ray because it's not on 4K.
Oh,
Wind
now
River.
it's 19.99
Yeah,
on
now it's
Blu-ray.
$20, and I was like, what, son of a, because I was going to buy it because I have it on digital, but I don't have it on
Well,
Blu-ray.
it's free to watch right now on Vudu with ads, so I'll check that out. But you may not have to wait as long for your to hear what I think of the other ones. So we'll see
So
what you
yeah.
got, though.
Okay, I hope you. I hope I didn't. I hope you really enjoyed them.
No, yeah, we'll get to it.
Okay. I'll start off first with one I just did a review over because I just got it and I wanted to, I watched them. The Dentist 1 and 2 Vestron Collection.
Cause I'm a dentist.
I don't know
I
if you
didn't get
can.
mine yet.
Oh, that sucks. I don't know if you can see the.
Not really. It's really dark.
I know it sucks, but it's really great artwork. It's really great. I really enjoyed these movies. I remember seeing the first movie, but I vaguely remembered the second one. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I love it. Corbin Burnson just goes bat crap crazy as this dentist. He wants everything to be perfect and clean and pristine, and he keeps seeing this decay in his mind because he's going absolutely nuts. I mean, he's just straight nuts, and he catches his wife in the first movie. At least he catches his wife giving the pool man a BJ, and he just snaps, and he just starts
I
going
think
crazy.
I've seen the first one, I think on Cinemax years ago, but I don't remember it,
Oh
sadly.
yeah, they're good. They're cheese. Don't you mean they're nothing like even he's
Yeah.
got a brand new interview with him, which I watched an interview with Corbin Burnson. He said this was not my payday. This was not my big breakout movie role. He said I just did this because I wanted to sort of break away from my persona from LA Law and do something different. And he just had a blast.
I think he also had like a X amount of picture deal with Vestron at that time too.
Yeah.
Because he did, I think The Substitute is one of theirs too.
Oh,
And
that
then he
wasn't
had
it.
also,
The substitute's Tom Berenger.
oh yeah, who was this in this one?
Corbin Burnson.
Oh, Corbin Burnson. That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. I don't know why I was getting the two mixed up, other than they're both in Major League, but I just had a
Yeah,
brain
they're
fart.
both
Don't
amazing.
mind me.
Yeah. But yeah, he said he had a lot of fun doing the first movie, and he he had to learn how to let go because it was such a low budget movie. They didn't have time to do multiple takes and so much. And Brian Yuzna, I can't never pronounce the name, who did like Bride of Reanimator. I think he did Society. He did all that. And he did these movies, so he knew what he wanted, and so he just like told him. He said that's why I really like watching special features. He said it just told him to go for it, and so he said he just learned to go for it, and just it's a great performance. And he just starts killing these people at his dentist office, and you actually kind of feel for the guy because even though he's killing these people and mangling these people's faces and removing their teeth and cutting out tongues, he has a legitimate reason to be pissed off and at these people. So he's got sort of that thing, and then by the second one, which I will say this, when you get it, the scan of the first movie looks all right. It's got some dirt and scratches in it, and the grain, it looks good. I wouldn't say it's too new of a scan, but the scan for the second one is a little darker. It's a little more grainier, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure I seen it on a premiere thing on Cinemax. I remember right, the original one anyway.
Yeah.
Years and years and years and years ago. So I'm not surprised. They were pretty low budget, straight to video, straight to cable fare. So yeah.
Yeah, but I enjoyed them. They're just like these cheesy horror schlocky B movies, and so yeah. And but it was good to hear. You know, it was good to hear Corbin Burnson talk about these movies. And he said in his interview, he said he would love to do a third one to see where the dentist is at today.
I'm such a dumb shit because I met him.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I have his autograph and everything.
Dude,
Yeah.
I always liked it. I always liked him in the Major League movies and the TV show Psych. I love the TV show Psych. So.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the best parts in Major League is when he comes up to Charlie Sheen and you think he's gonna slug him because he slept with his wife, and he gives him the ball and he goes, "Strike this motherfucker out."
Yeah, I love that scene. And then he punches him after they win the game. So
Yeah, because then you don't see it coming.
Yeah.
And he hugs him afterwards. Yeah.
That's I love those movies too. That's something I'm gonna have to watch here soon.
I actually love him in the third film. And the third film to me is so underrated in a weird way. Like I ended up, maybe it was because I had such low expectations going into it. Because I mean, I like the second film; it's all right, but the second film it has that sequel-itis problem of a lot of '90s films.
Go ahead.
Where they just kind of turn around and they take the original plot and they put everybody in the opposite position they were in the first movie just so they can relive the same movie all over again, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But Back to the Miners just had fun with itself. Yeah. I felt like it was just, yeah.
He actually talks about those movies. Oh, cool. In the interview on here. He brings them up.
He must really be proud of him because I was pissed I didn't have enough.
Actually, because he talks about the sequel. He talks about the sequel to The Dentist. He said he doesn't really like sequels because they tend to retread ground and they repeat. And he said he felt like that's what they were doing in the second movie, but it's good. And he said, and you're talking to a guy who did Major League 2, and only when to come back for Major League 3. So he talks about it. He goes, he said we were kind of scraping the barrel. He says,
well, he had a lot of memorabilia to sign for that at his place, and I was pissed because I didn't have enough to buy his jersey.
Oh,
and
man.
he could have him sign his jersey, but I had the main picture of him, Berenger, and Charlie Sheen, and he signed that for me. So
that's cool. But I mean, he did seem like he really enjoyed the movies, though, the Major League movies.
And he's not the only one from Part 3 to be in all 3 films. Serrano's in all 3 as well.
Yes, Serrano is in all 3. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I just had fun with these movies. Like I said, don't go expecting like super great scans.
Right.
The scans are great. They're fine. They're Blu-ray good quality, but they're just good fun movies. I mean, you're seeing Corbin Burnson lose his shit because his wife's giving the pool man a BJ. He pulls out people's teeth. He cuts out tongues. You get to see some titties. They're better than the Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, the 3 ones that just came out. So as far as I'm concerned,
bring myself to keep going on that, man. Like I tried to watch 4 and I just quit after like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. Just do yourself. I mean, I know people love the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. The 3, that's awesome, and that is a really great price, $11.99 for 3 movies. But do yourself a favor, get The Dentist and The Dentist 2. Brace yourself, which is part 2. They're much better movies. They're much funner movies. They're just the right amount of dumb and practical effects and stuff that it's good schlocky B movies, and that's my speed. So,
and hello to the Gory Bits.
Yes, hello Gory Bits. By the way, great guy, great channel. Over 160,000 subs. Good friend of the horror community. So,
he's guys lurking in our chat.
Yes,
that's interesting.
Yes, sir. But yeah, that's what I got for you. But it's got some great special features too, so enjoy. Yeah.
Well, the Vestron has been pretty. They've been doing a lot. They've been doing a lot of great titles at great prices, so you can't really,
Yeah, I can't complain.
I believe in you, Jobu. I stick up for you. Help me now. I say, fuck you, Jobu. I do it myself.
I love that scene.
Yes, I see.
We go to get a live chicken.
We can't have him sacrificing a live chicken in the clubhouse. We'll have guys puking and shit.
Oh, I
What
gotta
is
watch
this?
that.
This is the best we can do. You said one whole chicken. Well, this is one whole chicken.
I tend to watch that around springtime when baseball season starts.
Yeah, yeah.
I do. I really do. Especially considering being from Ohio, even though I'm a Reds fan. In Cleveland, I love watching that. So
well, and of course, I've got a tie to it because they shot the first one in County Stadium, which is the old Brewers Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, you got Bob Uecker, who's the announcer,
Bob
who's
Uecker,
been the Brewers announcer forever, just a bit outside.
Hey, that was good. I like that one. That was a good impression.
I love that.
Yes.
Strike one, or ball one, ball two, ball three, ball four, ball five, ball.
I just love how he keeps getting drunker and drunker, and then they start winning, and he gets sober.
This is brought to you by. I can't find it. To hell with it. Nobody gives a shit anyway. You can't say shit on the radio. Who cares? Nobody's listening.
Yeah, and then the other guys. In the first one or is the second one the same? He starts getting drunk later on, drunker and drunker.
The second one, I think, is where he has to take over. Yeah, finally, he's like, swing and a miss. Strike one. Donnie or whatever his name is. Yeah. There's moments in the second one I really do like. It's just putting certain characters in places where they're like, just so they can be right back where they were in the first movie, so they have to go through the whole montage of them getting better again crap.
Yeah.
I just like, no, I like the idea of having the new recruits and that kind of stuff, but I did not need to see Wild Thing go through a crisis.
Yeah.
Shit like that. I mean, they did go through at least progressing Tom Berenger, speaking of, I actually mean it this time, his character with Rene Russo's character.
Yeah.
So they at least went there. They just moved that along. They didn't break them up, so they had to get back together.
I hate when they do that trope.
So at least that was a plus. I mean, it's not a bad movie by far, but Omar Epps is no Wesley Snipes. That's the biggest problem you have.
That is and I'm with you. I agree. I think the third is the better of those two sequels.
They would have been better off leaving his character out completely and just keep making jabs that he left the team for a movie career.
Yeah.
And that would have been all they needed to keep jabbing Wesley, because that was the whole thing, is he wanted like just as much as Charlie got or whatever it was. That was the big argument over it. And it was like, dude, you're like fourth billing. In between there he did Passenger 57, I think, and some other stuff. So he wanted a big payday. So
it sucks when that happens, but yeah, you're right. They should have just left him out.
And the Randy Quaid stuff is good.
Oh yeah, that is good. Wow, dang, you make my butt sting, or whatever he says.
You guys stink.
I like Tin Cup. Tin Cup is actually a good
Tin Cup is a great fucking movie.
Tin Cup, Rene Russo, Don Johnson, and Cheech Marin. Bro.
Oh my God. Talk about a surprise for me. I don't remember what. I think I only rented it because Cheech was in it. Because I've never been a huge Kevin Costner fan. Keep that in mind.
Neither have I.
I mean, I've never hated him, but I've never been like, oh God, it's Kevin Costner. I got to see that. I've never seen a movie because Kevin Costner's in it. But when I saw the movie, I'm like, holy shit, this movie is hilarious. They did not sell this movie.
They did
correctly. They sold it as this romantic comedy that's boring when it is actually fucking drop dead hilarious through the entire fucking movie.
I agree.
And it's probably one of his best performances up until recently with I almost called it Deadwood, Jesus Christ. Yellowstone. I'd have to say, like, if you have not seen Tin Cup, do yourself a favor. And Warner Archive has released it on Blu-ray, so it is available.
Yes, it's a great movie. It is one of the few Kevin Costner, like you said, I've never been.
Don Johnson's in it too, and
it's one of the few that I really enjoy. Cheech Marin, Don Johnson, Rene Russo.
Isn't there somebody else too that's in it that I'm trying to think? Maybe Anyway, either way, that's enough.
Yeah. It's a great movie though. But yeah, I know we got off the topic what I picked, because plus I did a video. Go watch my video. It's like 10 minutes long. I cover both movies. The Dentist 1 and 2, Corbin Bernsen. If you just want to watch some guy, because it really is a brilliant performance, just watch him go nuts. It's awesome. What do you got?
Back on Yellowstone, as you predicted.
There you go.
Watched
I hope you like this movie. I really do, because I really love it.
Now this one was much better than Sicario.
There you go. The ending, though, right?
Man, yeah. Like, I mean, it's one of those endings though where I kind of like it a lot. Like, it
Right.
sets up this idea that, you know, I love the line. He's like, maybe, you know, I got a place in town. If you want to come finish this conversation, come visit me. And then, you know, maybe I'll give you some peace of mind then. And he goes, you know, and then of course, you know, Jeff Bridges is like, well, maybe I'll give you some peace of mind, meaning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he's just going to let it go. Because that's
Yeah.
all he wanted. He wanted a reason.
Right.
He just wanted a fucking reason. And to him, that was enough that he lost his partner over, because he did it for his family,
Mm-hmm.
not for his own selfish bullshit. And sorry, spoilers for the fucking movie.
Yeah, spoilers for everybody.
But no, that's the whole point of the movie. It's this linchpinning moment where both of them have sacrificed the two most closest people to them.
Mm-hmm.
And was it worth it?
Right.
And
he
gives you, and it gives you that little, like you said, that wink of, you pretty sure Jeff Bridges is just gonna, because he's gonna let it slide, because this is a new relationship that they're gonna have now for the rest of their lives. You know,
they
the
both
one that
know
got
something
away,
that, you know, on each other that, you know.
Yeah, and he'll never be able to prove it, and he knows it. So it's like, you know, because he's even told that by the one cop, like, no avenue is ever going to lead to him getting convicted for this shit. But yeah, for those who don't already know, sorry, I apologize, but I seem like the last one to the table with this movie, so I'm assuming most people have seen it already. So.
Yeah, I just, when I first saw it, I did not expect it to be so good, or myself to, because I find myself really thinking back on that movie at times, and it is really good, and the performances. The guy that plays his brother, Chris Pine's brother, Ben, I can't remember the name, but
it's Ben Foster. Is he one of the
Foster?
Is he related to the Fosters at all, or is he just happened to be named one? I don't know.
You know, I don't know. But his character in that movie, it's just like he goes from being like this really like likable type of character, you know what I mean? And then like the shit he does, and that's what I said. It's like this modern day Western.
Not related to them at all. So yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
Anyway,
okay, but like the layers of gray in this movie between Jeff Bridges and his partner and Chris Pine and Ben Foster, like there's these really great characters that you can connect with and you understand, but also on the surface they're also doing like really dark, bad crap, but they're also doing it for really great reasons. It really, like you said, it really makes you think a lot in the movie, and like when it comes down to the final gunfight and you're like, did what just happened? You know what I mean? And it's just I dug the performances. I dug the movie. It's just like a really great adult movie. And I don't mean that. Yeah, go ahead.
Like I say, it shows what Taylor Sheridan's good at, and that is just giving you a straightforward story, giving you interesting characters, not completely perfect characters in any way, shape, or form. Very, very flawed characters for the most part. But usually there's one that's a little bit more morally, you know, attuned than the other, I guess is the best way to put it. Or, you know, one's less morally, one's morally ambiguous than the other, let's say. That's, I guess, the best way to put it. But yeah, the performances are everything in this film. You've got the two sets of guys basically bouncing back and forth, and it just works brilliantly because you have the two brothers, and then you have, you know, Jeff Bridges and his partner. You know, and their whole back and forth shit with, you know, the whole racist bit.
And he's an Indian too, so like,
yeah. He's half Mexican, don't forget.
Yeah,
like,
half
just wait till I get to the Mexican part.
Yeah. That guy was such a great actor too.
Yeah, and he's in Yellowstone, which I love too. He plays Rainwater.
I told you
Yellowstone.
They continue.
Yeah. So like, yeah, and I mean, and the scene where, you know, everything that happens at the end there, that whole build up for the standoff is brilliant. I love how, you know, they're sitting there waiting, and it makes sense that Jeff Bridges has figured out that this is the most likely spot they're going to go to, but yet that last minute change of plans that, you know, Ben Foster's character has also, it saves him for a moment, but then it also, you know, really at the end, all it really did is save his brother. If you think about it, because
really, that's
and
all
he knew that. He knew what was going to, it's like he almost knew where this was going to go, right?
Right.
And that's what I love. It's that same kind of, like you said, it's definitely that same kind of writing and the same kind of characters we get from Yellowstone. to where they're very grounded, of the earth kind of characters. Sure, there's a little bit of a soap opera-y Western kind of fantasy element to it, but it's very romanticized in a way, but also very brutal at the same time. It's just, he does a great job. He's a very nuanced writer, and it works. I know you could sit there and nitpick at it, I'm sure. Script doctors pointed out some things too, and it's like, you know what? I don't care. To me, exactly. It's like Tarantino. It's like poetic in a way. It doesn't necessarily have to be true to form, but it doesn't matter because I'm not paying attention to the flaws because the rest of it is so brilliant.
Exactly.
You know, I don't have to question the little things at all. And this movie, though, is pretty tight. Like, there's not really much that I can feel like he's making up or phoning in or just creating an element just for a story, just to be one way or the other. It feels very tight. I mean, it almost feels like it's based on a true story. I don't know if
it does, doesn't it? It feels like this could have been something in their plan.
I don't know if it's inspired by a true story or not, but clearly it comes from some kind of inspiration of, you know, the housing crash and this idea of, you know, these Robin Hood robbers are going to pay off their mom's farm with the money that they steal from the bank itself.
Yeah, you know, it's like they're robbing these banks and paying the bank back with the money they robbed from the bank.
You know, and then Jeff Bridges, of course, he's just on their tail the whole time. He's this perfect bloodhound, classic Texas, you know, sheriff kind of character, or whatever he is.
Texas Ranger. He's
Ranger. That's what it is. I was gonna say, he's a Ranger. So like, just the brilliance, just brilliance all around. Simplicity. It doesn't have the pretentiousness that was brought to Sicario. Because I feel like if now, for instance, like Denis Villeneuve had directed this instead of Joe Blow, nobody I've ever heard of before, David Mackenzie,
right?
Who I have no idea, sadly, you know, but he just fit perfectly, right? He just obviously took the script.
He clearly got what Sheridan was putting down.
Exactly, and like you said, you can feel the same kind of vibe that this feels like a Sheridan production in that sense, even though he's just the writer. He's in one bit part. You know, of course, he's on a fucking horse.
Of course.
But now that I know more about him, I'm not surprised in the least. So but no, I've gotten so deep dived into it in the last few months here, and I'm glad I finally got to see this. But I do got to check out that other film, though. I seen that it's on Vudu. I'm gonna have to check that out this week. So
honestly, I love Wind River, and I'll tell you why. Because I know it doesn't seem like it looking at me, my pasty white face here, my pasty whites. But my great grandmother was full-blooded Indian. If you see my dad, if you would see me, you would say, "Oh yeah." But it's something that when you watch that movie and you want to look at it, kind of makes you want to look, if you have that type of heritage in your family, kind of makes you want to look into that a little bit to see, because I don't want to spoil it when you get to it. I just want to know, because it's another one that really has that. It's like, it's got that ending, and it's like another modern day Western, like Cowboys, Indians type stuff. But, you know, the relationship between those people, and it just, you got to see it. But yeah, Hell or High Water, I love it. I think it's a great movie, and it's one of the few new modern type movies that I really love. And I tell you, one of my favorite things, if I remember correctly, I think it's him. When they first robbed the first bank, it's I believe it's Festus from Gunsmoke is in the bank. If you guys know Gunsmoke, he's like, and you boys ain't even Mexicans when he's robbing them.
Yeah.
If you do remember Festus.
And then the guy with the gun is also a classic veteran actor, and he's also in Yellowstone as well. The one
is he?
What the hell did you leave the gun on the counter for? I didn't think he was going to use it, or whatever. I didn't want to take an old man's gun or whatever, you know.
I think that I'm trying to remember that's who I'm talking about. I think that's Festus.
Oh, that's who you're talking about. Okay, yeah. I thought you meant the first bigger guy.
I'm not really sure,
because I thought the guy that said they weren't even. Or no, you're right. I think it is him. Yep, you're right. I got him mixed up with the other fatter guy.
Yeah, the skinnier guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, because I know him, but I keep thinking he's Festus from High Water.
This is Newly, not Festus.
Oh, Newly. Yes, he's Newly. That's who I'm thinking of. Yes. Okay, yeah, I know who he is now. Took me a minute. Yeah. No, I think he came on later in the series. Because my dad watches Gunsmoke all the time. That's why. Because when we watched it, he pointed it out to me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that is the guy." So yeah, I really enjoyed that scene. I love seeing that, and I just love the movie, man. That's really I got to say about it. But I guess we'll go to my next pick of the night. If you got anything else to say, Tom.
No, I think that's pretty much it for now until I see Wind River, which we'll see. We can talk about that. Like then, at some point, I'd like to get Yellowstone on disc, but I'm really kind of pissy you don't have them on 4K.
You would think with the show as
Because I
popular
did
as
just
that
buy
is.
the 5th season in 4K and digital, but it doesn't even come out on disc until March.
That's crazy.
So, but yeah, no, like that sucks. But yeah, I'd love to talk about that in more detail, but
Yeah.
maybe another show.
Whenever you watch it, I might watch it again myself and pick up the Blu-ray and we'll do it together.
Well, like I said, I'm already up through season 5. I'm in the midst of the first part of season 5 now, so I'm almost caught up.
Look who just showed
look
up.
who's here.
Look at that.
When we both only have one pick left.
I got 2.
Oh yeah, you haven't done your second one.
Yeah, I haven't done the second one. What's up, Runner?
Or no, you did 2 of them, didn't you?
No, I did 1. I did the dentist.
You have
that's
one
right,
more.
yeah.
You have one more pick, and it's been less than an hour.
Yeah, because you weren't here to waste our time.
We only had 3 each.
Damn.
No,
we didn't have a lot of announcements either.
Yeah,
and Greg is just about to do his second title now.
Yeah.
I got 4, but
of course you do.
I'm sorry.
You come in, we're both, me and Tom's both half done, and then I got 4.
I'm sorry. I watched a decent amount of movies. I watched more than 4 fucking movies the last week. So,
well, we might as well let Runner go one, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead. Show us what you got.
Yeah. So this one is a foreign film. It's a fairly popular one. So I can't imagine you haven't heard of this.
I don't like subtitles.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
It's okay. Well, here's the thing, Greg. You'd probably like this movie for like the premise. I'd honestly be surprised if you even seen this movie, but you've probably heard about it many times. And that is, this is probably the best like recent zombie flick, and that is Train to Busan.
Oh yeah, I still haven't seen that, but I've heard that's really good. But I heard the sequel sucked.
They made a sequel?
Yeah, it's called Train to Busan Peninsula.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm not watching it.
I heard it sucked. I heard it wasn't very good, but I heard the first one's great.
The first one is great. There's no need for a fucking sequel. The fuck? There's no point of it. Like, well, if you've seen the movie, there's absolutely no point on what.
Yeah, it's just like it just takes place in the same world with different people.
Yeah, that's stupid. Just watch the first one.
Wait till the American remake that's coming.
Oh my god. Well, they said the same bullshit about The Raid. Like the American remake of The Raid. It's like, yeah, like that's gonna fucking work. Okay, you need to watch The Raid though, Greg.
Oh, was it a prequel? Joey says it was a prequel. Maybe, I don't know. I thought it was a sequel. Either way, I know there's another one, and I heard it sucked. But I've heard the first one is actually really good. It's one of the better zombie flicks to come out of Korea, I believe. South Korea?
A prequel, honestly, the more I think about it, would be a little more interesting. Just like the premise of it, kind of like, if you're going to talk about how the zombies originate and all that, it's like whatever. A sequel makes no motherfucking sense.
Well, apparently there's 3 of them. I did not know that. I always thought there was 2.
Are you shitting me? There's no fucking way. My mind is fucking blown.
But anyways, go ahead, give us a little story on this one.
Okay, so
I know a little bit about it, but I haven't seen it all.
So basically, it's about this little girl. It's her birthday. She's a little, I don't know. Well, her dad like comes to visit her. He gives her a Nintendo Wii for her birthday, and he notices that she already has one, so he's trying to think of some other gift for her, and she wants to take the train to Busan. That's how it all starts. And
Then the
then
damn zombies.
the damn zombies come in. One gets infected, a lot of them get infected. And then all hell breaks loose from there. That's basically what the story is. You need to watch the whole movie to really enjoy it.
And I've heard a few things here and there about it, and I've heard it's one of the better modern day zombie type movies.
And I didn't watch it on dub.
You didn't watch it, and so you read the movie too.
I read the subtitles, yes.
I don't mind the dub. I know people like. I know there's like a thing about that. I'm not saying this is you, Runner, but I know there's a thing where people like you have to read it because you have to hear it in their language. I'm like, dude, give me the dub. I don't care. I don't mind reading, but just give me the dub.
Well, no, like I don't dislike dubs. It's just like.
And like I said, I'm not saying that's you, but I know there's an argument amongst people.
Oh no, I'm not that crazy. Like I'm not like super crazy about it, but like for a movie like that, I'm like I want to like actually kind of hear the dialogue from, the actual language that they speak. That's just me personally. Like I want to experience that first, and then eventually when I return, I'll put on the dub,
Yeah.
Cuz it even if you like, even with the subtitles on and and all that, but like it's a good movie to watch like visually, and you can sort of just understand what's going on from a visual or from a visual storytelling perspective, and how they try to get through the zombies and all that. It's pretty damn cool.
Cool.
So it's a good movie.
Yeah, have you seen it? Good.
Probably not.
Probably not. But I'll get to it. I will get to it. It's actually is it still on Shudder? I know it was on Shudder. And that is, as you know, that is one actual streaming service I do tend to turn on. So I have to look up and see if it's on there and get to it eventually. Yeah. But
Greg, you know that season 6 of Cobra Kai is coming, so you better watch season 5.
I know I gotta watch season 5, and then we'll get another quote from Runner. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, because it's exclusive to Netflix. Well, Cobra Kai is arguably the best show on Netflix.
I do gotta say though, like shout out to Tim Walden, who caught that you said last week. I've only seen Flashdance like twice, and I've never jerked off.
You see, that's how you see, Greg. Here's the thing.
That was pretty funny. My meme was funny too, man. About you saying that.
No. Yours was less funny. Tim's.
No, mine was funny.
No.
It just it just hurt you.
No. Yeah, because it's stupid. The Flashdance.
No, it's not.
No. Shut the fuck up and let me talk. The Flashdance one, the Flashdance quote, that shit is hilarious. Like, that's how you meme someone. Like, that's a brilliant way of memeing someone. Saying,
I really
it's on Netflix is like
the
lamest fucking shit ever.
I don't think you get it, though. This is why it's so funny.
I get it. I get it. It's stupid. That's what I get. The Flashdance one is hilarious.
Anyways,
that shit is hilarious. Like, that's how you meme, Greg. That is how you meme.
Anyways, do you want to do another one real quick before I go into mine?
Yes. Sure. So this is to those that don't know, Tom and Greg already know this. I got a delivery recently from Kino Lorber, our good friends at Kino Lorber, and I picked up some pretty good titles.
Finally.
One of them is
good titles.
Yeah, is great titles. One of them is a great fun action flick. It's a Van Damme movie. I'm pretty sure. I think it might be the only Van Damme movie on 4K from Kino, and that's
Not yet.
Target.
Sudden Death is coming to 4K from Kino.
Yeah, I'm saying ones that are out now.
That's a good movie.
This is a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Probably
John Woo did Face Off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, John. This is probably his second best movie that I've seen. First.
What about the snake scene when he punches a snake?
Oh, that was awesome. He just bites the fucking tail off.
It's just the imagery, though, the way it looks.
Yeah, it's great.
Got Wilford Brimley from The Thing and the oatmeal commercials and the Diabetes commercials. Plays his what's he? Does he play his uncle right in that? It's been a while since I've seen it. He plays his uncle, don't he?
Well, to those that are wondering, the Doves do make a cameo at the very end of the movie. And you know, speaking of John Woo, I even like Mission Impossible 2 for as bad as it is.
That's what you say, but that movie sucks.
Okay, objectively, it's not good, but
I mean, I can't argue with you because I like a lot of bad movies that a lot of people say are crap. I mean, as much as I give you crap about it, and because I can't argue about that.
You like a shit ton of bad movies, and you don't like Mission Impossible 2. It's like that's like one of the least bad of bad movies.
But it's a difference between a bad movie that I like and a bad movie I think is just bad.
No, I know, but like. I think it's a movie that's bad, but it's not like horrifically bad. You know what I mean? Like it's not terrible. It's literally just a John Woo action flick, and that's how I kind of watched it.
But we do have
I can see why Tom doesn't like the movie.
I can see why I don't like the movie.
I don't understand why you don't like the movie.
I don't. How many times I got to tell you this? I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan.
I understand that.
I don't have a problem with the man personally or anything like that. I can watch his movies. I'm just not actively seeking out his movies, though I do like the Top Gun movies, and I like Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder was all right.
I enjoyed the first movie, but the second movie, it sucked. And then the third movie, it's like what J.J. Abrams did, is just
third one was.
I was done, but I know I've heard they get better. I know you tell me they get better. I'll get to them eventually.
They do. You gotta watch, dude. When you watch that fourth movie, and the fourth movie's directed by Brad Bird, by the way, and it's a whole lot better from there.
I know,
so much better.
But we have a $2 Australian super chat from Brett Cohen,
and you know a lot of people like the third Mission Impossible. It's easily my least favorite.
It has its moments, but it's still J.J. Abrams, mystery box, red dot, bull crap. Anyways.
Rabbit's foot.
Yeah, rabbit's foot stuff.
Yeah, I mean. But
anyways, like I said, we got a super chat here. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I thought Simon Pegg was good in it. Like, he was pretty funny for the most part, but other than that, the movie's kind of forgettable. Out of the other ones,
it is.
I'm sorry. I like Mission Impossible 2 more than 3. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but.
Yeah. But
at least saying, John Woo's a better director than J.J. Abrams. So.
Oh, definitely. I mean, just watch Face Off and Hard Target, like you said. But we have a $2 Australian super chat from Brett Cohen. It says, "Have you watched Kebab Shop yet? All I want to know." No, I have not, and I don't know if that's. Yeah, I've never heard of it. I don't know if that's a real show. If you're trying to get us, because if you're trying to get us, you probably just got us. So I've never heard of it, but yes, no, I have not. But I do thank you very much for the super chat. And since you sent us in a super chat, you get Samurai Cop.
They call him Samurai. He speaks fluent Japanese.
Are you Fujiyama?
What does katana mean?
It means Japanese sword.
Oh, I love that movie. The movie's so bad. Now that is a really, really bad movie, but I love it. It's so good.
See,
I love them.
Like Tyrell in the chat says, I don't mind MI2 either. It's bad in a fun way. Exactly. it's bad in a fun ass way.
I know. I get that's just said. I can't really argue with you about it. I mean, like I said,
don't
I
get me
like
wrong.
really bad crap, but I'm not going to argue
know.
with it. And I will say that it is probably better than part 3, especially because
Oh,
part
yeah.
3 does not. I mean, I haven't seen past it, and I know we're moved off topic here from Hard Target, and we'll get back on
Yeah, I
that here in a
know.
minute.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to
But
say.
part 3 has aged poorly, especially knowing J.J. Abrams.
Oh, absolutely.
So it has aged very badly.
Well, it hasn't aged poor. Well, I think it ages poorly not so much because of J.J. Abrams, more so because the last 3 movies are just so good. Like it easily like kicks its ass. Like the 4th movie, especially those last 2 movies that what's his name? Christopher McQuarrie directed. Like those kick ass.
But back to Hard Target real quick, and then I'll move on to me.
Yeah, Hard Target. Great movie. I still need to watch more Van Damme movies because the last one I think I watched was Universal Soldier. Yeah.
I like Universal Soldier. Hey, there you go. You're wrong.
I-
Universal
I-
Soldier's
I-
on 4K, but you said Kino. Never mind.
I find it ironic that a movie starring Jean-Claude Van Damme has a title that literally translates into pussy.
That's funny.
What is a hard target? Pussy.
No, but like I don't know. No, because like remember when I told you I watched the 4K for Universal Soldier and I liked the movie, but like I thought the dialogue with I thought Van Damme's dialogue was so damn quiet in that movie. I don't know if it was a problem with my TV or just the 4K or what.
That's
I
how
don't
he
know what-
acts.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
but
much how he speaks.
but his dialogue, the way it like the volume and all that's way better in this movie. I don't know.
Well,
why.
that's Kino, and I mean, Lionsgate did the 4K, the other one, which I can't complain about Lionsgate, but
Yeah.
Kino probably did better sound than Lionsgate did.
Yeah, plus I could hear his dialogue fine, and
Sometimes it's just
Street
actors
Fighter.
and certain
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
But,
I do believe he's quiet in that, but that's one of the better Terminator ripoffs, and plus, I think that's the whole point. Like his character was quiet; he doesn't really speak up till he needs to, till he
He only
needs to
screams
stand up
when
to
he
Dolph
kicks.
Lundgren.
That was
Yeah,
that was I don't know. To me, I thought it was like too quiet, but I could hear him just fine in Street Fighter. Another great bad movie.
he probably dubbed his lines in that.
probably yeah.
maybe.
But we do got
Or he did an
another.
ADR.
Yeah, they had to. They paid him like you got to speak louder.
Or more fluently.
Yeah, more fluently. But we do have another $2 Australian super chat from Brett Cohen. He says it's a Brit horror movie. Watch Evil Aliens from Wells. I'll check that out. I will look into that, Brett, because you're speaking my language. And considering you gave us another one, and we're on a thing of bad movies here, have some more Samurai Cop.
Good job, guys. Calls for a celebration.
You got it. I'll see you back at your place.
How did he hear her?
Right. Oh my god.
She does it. But the best part of that is after he says, I'll see you back in your place, boom, it's her naked laying on top of him. So
Mental telepathically.
Now I really want to see this movie.
The thing is, the sex scenes are just as bad as the movie. Is like the guy filming does not know how to shoot a sex scene and what to focus on. Yeah, you're seeing her butt and her boobs, but it's like really, really awkward. It makes the movie. It's a great bad movie. Really great bad movie. Okay, anywho, I guess should we move on to me?
Please.
Okay.
Please, yes.
I'm actually pulling a runner tonight. This probably should have been my first movie after what you showed, Tom. I pulled a runner. Sorry. But this one we probably won't talk a lot about.
Well, this is
Goonies.
only your second time. But
Yeah.
Hey, nice.
Goonies,
Love
Josh
this movie.
Brolin. I should have brought it up. I pulled a runner. But
you
yeah.
didn't get a chance to yet. This is your second.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just got the 4K for Christmas.
Well, you should. No, you're right.
Oh.
You went after me. You're right. Never mind.
Yeah, because
I
of
got
Josh
you.
Brolin. Yeah, I just got the 4K for Christmas. I think it's a really good scan. I enjoyed it. It looked better than I anticipated it to look. And for anybody, go ahead. What?
No, I didn't mean it. I think I got the movie. I think I got it on Black Friday last year, or technically, like 2021 or whatever when I started collecting. And I didn't have a 4K TV at the time, so I watched the Blu-ray. And I hadn't seen the movie in so damn long.
It's a good movie. I love it, and the 4K scan was really good. But for anybody who wants it, just if you can see it. If you can see it, there is the 4K digital copy for you guys. I do not need it. I actually already have a digital copy. So,
hey, you guys.
If you guys can see it, I know it's blurry, but there you go.
That's all right. I feel like they could read it. I don't know.
So if you guys whoever gets it, let me know. What is this?
For those who don't know, one of the houses from Goonies recently went up for sale.
That is true. I just saw that.
The owners now are not too welcoming to Goonie fans. As you see here, they have a banner that says "Goonies not welcome."
See, that's bullcrap because they should have hired
That's fucked.
Like they're selling the Christmas Story house.
Yeah. And
one of the things in that is that you have to be welcome to the fans of the movie. That whoever is buying it has to, So they should have really did that with the Goonies house.
You can like rent like they're like the home the Home Alone house is like you can like rent it, like you can stay in there for like a couple of days or whatever.
That's all right because the main house they welcome Goonies.
There you go.
Hey, you awesome. Guys, Goonies welcome. Guys. And then the other house says ignore the Karen.
I love that. That is awesome.
That is big.
So yeah, I remember I sent that to Jay, aka Drunk 3PO, and I said because I found it was funny because he would have posted that when that one went for sale that he was gonna try and buy it or whatever, or jokingly or whatever. Yeah. But
that is
starting
funny.
Like a campaign too or whatever.
That is
so
funny.
Whoever bought it is a Karen, evidently.
That's some bullshit. That's like I said. They really need to monitor who they sell these movie houses to. The only one I could really understand is like the Amityville Horror House. Maybe you don't want people coming around that one, especially if you buy it.
Well, the people who bought it last I knew, I don't know if they still live there or not, but the ones were living there for a long time. It was specifically a guy, and he had said nothing has happened, and he discouraged anybody from coming to the house, and he'd even had some shit remodeled to where people can barely even tell the house now.
Yeah, I heard he changed the windows and stuff.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen the Home Alone house, speaking of Runner. I had actually been there.
No, I just remember Justin Proper sent me something, or I don't know if he sent me something, or I think he might have talked about it in one of his shows or whatever. Like, you can rent the Home Alone house, or I think he told me since he knew I lived in Chicago. I'm like, oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah,
it's like it's like an Airbnb type thing.
Goonies was a fun film when it came out. It seems to hold up pretty well. Quite a few times.
Surprisingly, it does hold up very well. And
that movie is one of my favorites as a kid.
It's a great movie. I mean, it's got really great performances, from the kids. Ki-Hee Kwan, if I can say his name right.
Ki-Hee Kwan.
Ki-Hee Kwan. He just won an award. It's nice to see him making a comeback.
Oh yeah, good. I think he won a Golden Globe and a Critics' Choice. I think.
Yeah, nice, and
which is great.
I always had a crush on the redhead in the movie. She was hot. Sean Astin. I always wanted to be Sean Astin. I still have a jean jacket to this day because of Goonies and stuff.
I can see you being a Sean Astin type character.
He was like, I related to him. Him and Chunk. That was probably I wanted to be Sean Astin, but I was more like the fat kid. So
Chunk's great. I love.
Yeah,
Chunk.
he is.
Yeah, it's a great movie. The redhead was really hot.
Yeah, Andy, she was hot, and then Josh Brolin was. You don't really realize it's Josh Brolin until he became so famous years later.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Corey Feldman before he went crazy. So
I met Corey Feldman.
I know,
and Sean Astin actually. I met them both because they were there because they were doing a Goonies reunion type thing. And you know what's funny? Ki-Hee Kwan was supposed to be there, but he he was like the first one to call off.
Yeah, probably because he's famous now.
I was gonna say probably because of all the popularity he got from EAO.
Yeah, but I've just always enjoyed it. I mean, it really does have a great cast of it's like the young kids that really, you know, I mean, like those are like that's when you watch that, especially as a kid, especially around that era. I mean, I wasn't like that age when that movie came out, but like it's still around the same time frame, and you just like you want to ride your bike, you go around your neighborhood. It's you very connect with each one of the kids, and it's got a really great plot. It does get scary, especially with like the guys chasing them, and you do get scared a little bit when you first see Sloth, and then you really grow to love him. And then like the Superman scene when he rips his shirt, and I love the movie, man. I love the movie.
You know, it's funny about the whole Sloth thing. So I wasn't scared. I was a little like weirded out. I'm like, what? Like that was me as a kid. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like that was me as a kid. And then when the whole Superman thing came up, where he like rips his shirt off, that was pretty cool. But I had no idea that it was the same director as Superman at the time.
Yeah, Richard Donner.
Yeah, I didn't.
That was my childhood. Richard Donner in movies and all that, man. That's my childhood.
Yeah, he's a great director.
Yeah,
a really good director. But
that scene.
But then when I found out that Richard Donner directed Goonies, because I only knew him for like Superman and Lethal Weapon and all that, but
yeah,
you know, then I found out he directed Goonies. I'm like, and then I connected the dots with the Sloth character, and I'm like, oh,
you even play the music.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I watched it, and then when I watched the Blu-ray, I was like, oh man, that's cool.
That's cool.
Also co-written by Chris Columbus and Steven Spielberg.
Oh yeah, it was produced by Steven Spielberg too.
Yes, sir. But yeah, the Mexican housekeeper scene in Corey Feldman when he's like telling him to lock him in the closet and the stuff that is pretty hilarious. I love that scene.
And sadly, this does not have the TV cut on the disc, but they do have the deleted scenes from it.
I wish they had it.
But at least they got the deleted scenes that are from the TV cut, basically. But
yeah, they do. But yeah, like I said, it's a movie that we've all seen 100 million times. I figured we probably wouldn't talk too much about it. But as far as the 4K goes, if anybody doesn't have the 4K, it is actually a really great 4K scan. So check it out. And it really helps that, I mean, even though it's like in the Northwest and it's cloudy and rainy, a lot of the stuff with the outside scenes is really great. Really, it works really well in 4K. So pick it up. It's pretty cool.
No, you're right. It's a great movie, you know. I think a lot of us as kids, you know, always liked the idea of going out and adventure and doing a bunch of dumb, weird shit, you know. Just fucking around. Like that's why I love the movie so much.
I was on a camping trip with a few of my cousins and stuff, and we were convinced that we found the burying place of Christopher Columbus.
That's awesome.
Hey, we all knew it was bullshit, but we had fun with it. We were like, just this whole like thing, because we found this rock that was in the shape of his head, so it was clearly the last resting place. And we were digging. It was just, you know, we had our own little Goonie adventure over the weekend because it was so fucking boring. There was nothing else to do. You know, there was no place to swim or do anything like that. It was just, you know, a really boring camp experience. So we're like, we had to invent our own adventure.
I did that. We thought we found an ancient Indian burial ground. Personally, we went camping because we found some arrowheads buried out in the woods, which every kid finds arrowheads.
Of course.
And then you think when you're out in the woods and you're camping and you're way down the stream and stuff, you're like, how many more did you find? You think, I wonder if they buried Indians here. And you're like, so you think you find something. But yeah, I get that. And it's just something you connect with. And it's a movie that I feel it's a movie that if you don't watch as a kid, you may not get as an adult. All the hype that surrounds it.
It's possible. So, I think I've talked to at least one or two people who've seen it as an adult who didn't see it as a kid, and it didn't really quite hold up.
Right.
And there was a lot of adults at that time that just didn't care for the film all that much either.
Mm-hmm.
But no, as far as...
oh, sorry, my bad.
I was just say, as far as on a level, there was a large swath of people who did enjoy it, though, and yeah, it's a movie that clearly has stood the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, it's funny you bring that up about adults, like ones who kind of like grew up and all that when time it came out or whatever. Like, I think, like, my parents just don't really care for the movie all that much.
Yeah, but from the sound of it, your parents aren't really big movie people all around.
Well, I mean, no, they like movies. They like movies, maybe not to the extent that I do, but
That's what I mean.
yeah.
I
But
mean, your dad doesn't like Tombstone, so
well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't. They don't hate the movie. They don't hate. They don't hate Goonies. Well, he hates Tombstone, but that's a whole other story. I can go on a deep rabbit hole there. But no, like I think, like I told him about, like, I don't know. I think I told him, like, oh, I rewatched Goonies and all that. It's fucking awesome still. And he's like, you like that shit? Like, that's what he told me. I'm like, dude, like, I fucking loved it as a kid. What the hell?
it's great. I
And
do
so
miss that, but the thing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I'm guessing it's because of kind of their age, and because they grew up in the '60s, or they were born in the '60s, I should say. So that's probably why
Yeah, that's true.
they were too old at that point.
Joey, this is like there's no more MTV, there's no more good music, and there's no more good movies. So, but this Goonies Blu-ray has the Cyndi Lauper Goonies Are Good Enough video, so at least it has that. I mean, I had to scour for that freaking Robin Hood music video. Some people have found it and then it posted links and then it's disappeared. They've taken it right off. So
that is weird.
It is. But the Goonies, check it out. I know, Tom, you got one left. I got one left. So, Runner, you go again.
All right, I go again.
Yeah.
This is
that way we all have one left.
Yeah. So this one I just watched recently. Pretty good movie. I know some people might find this overrated, and I can understand it. I thought the ending was damn good. I almost shed a tear. It's a Kevin Costner movie. It's Field of Dreams.
It's funny he keeps coming up tonight.
Yeah,
that is really funny.
It is. There's Runner. There's a fucking Runner thing again. Because like he hadn't even been here, and we had been talking Yellowstone and Kevin Costner. How we talked Tin Cup. And then he brings a Kevin Costner movie.
You seriously talked about Yellowstone without even knowing?
Yeah, because my first two movies were Sicario and Hell and High Water.
Oh, Sicario? Oh. Okay.
But that is funny. And that's funny, Tom. That seriously, that is. I don't know how he does it. I truly don't know how he does it.
I didn't even know you brought on Yellowstone.
He didn't. He's been watching Yellowstone, and we talked.
He's been watching it.
Yeah, tonight I brought in Sicario, and those were my first two movies.
Yeah.
Or Sicario, and
that's funny. No, I bought this. I bought this on that sale, that Black Friday sale.
They will come.
If you stroke it, it will come.
Jerk off.
I watched the wrong Field of Dreams.
Clearly, you did.
Field of Creams.
Field of Cream. That's what it was called. Yes.
Who's your daddy? Who's your
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Swing, better, swing. I'm sorry.
No, but it's
home run.
It's out of the park. Go ahead,
That's a good movie. It's got Darth Vader in it.
Yes.
Yeah, Darth Vader and the guy from Goodfellas.
Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta.
Yeah. May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. I can't wait to see him in Cocaine Bear. That's gonna be great.
The movie looks crazy.
Kevin Costner in Field of Cream.
No, but I mean, let's be honest. Like, can you name a better trio than Kevin Costner, Ray Liotta, and James Earl Jones? Like, that's fucking cool.
I can.
I can, but that's a very good movie.
FanZcene, Tom, and Runner.
You're not wrong.
Larry, Curly, and Moe.
Well, there are objectively better trios, but that's a those three
No,
alone,
as far
that's
as
a damn
sports
good
movies go, this is definitely in the top 5. Must. It's a father-son picture, big time.
Big time.
Yeah, dude, that ending is holy shit. Like when he like talks to his father.
He just gets to play catch with his dad, man.
Yeah, I know, but like he doesn't like tell him he's his dad until he says like, "Hey, Dad, want to play a little catch or something?" I'm like, "Oh, damn!" Like that's like, damn, you trying to get me to cry or something?
Speaking of which, is that house still standing, or was that built? Was that a set built? I can't remember that one. The house from Field of Dreams.
I have no
I
idea.
think it was all built because I think they had to build the field too.
I was gonna say, don't they still have that as a field where they can play baseball? Because I remember them doing the Field of Dreams game not too long ago, playing baseball.
You might be right. I can't remember.
Yeah. But yeah. Do you consider cost? I would say he's much like people like to say Tom Cruise is the last movie star. I would say Kevin Costner is one of the last like old time.
Well, he
Hollywood
used to
stars.
be. I don't know if he could lead a movie now, but
Yeah, I don't know if he could lead it now, but yeah, I would say he's one of the ones still sort of hanging on.
Yeah, I agree. Would you consider him too much? Like, I don't know, because like a movie star. I don't know. I mean,
I wouldn't say like Hollywood movie star, but I would say like
at one time he was one of the A-list movie
one
stars.
time, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I would say he's one of the like.
But like even like no, because like I would say like in the 80s and all that, there were like a ton of movie stars. But like movie stars like now, there's like very little.
That's
like,
one of my favorite jokes from Family Guy is I just don't get it. They're coming out No Way Out, and Chris is like, I just don't get it. How does Kevin Costner keep getting work?
Well, it's an interesting. He has an interesting career because he did a lot of very big movies. He kind of came out of nowhere and was really big real fast. And the movie that Runner showed was one of the movies that really put him on the map. And then of course he had Dances with Wolves, which was a huge thing for him.
He directed it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to a point in his career where things kind of went off the rails a little bit, but yeah.
No, but I do. I to anybody, I'm sure most people have seen it now, but like I'm sure Runner does this. Watch Field of Dreams. That's another. Speaking of baseball, once again we brought up Major League and we talked baseball. So there's another one of Runner's intuition, psychic intuition things that he has going. But yeah, like that's actually a good double feature, like Major League and then Field of Dreams. One to make you laugh, one to make you cry. It's not a bad double feature right there.
Yeah. It's not bad at all.
Yeah. He's no Glenn Ford. That's true. I'll agree with you. Not to get into that. I mean, he's probably my least favorite Paul Kent ever.
Let's not go there.
But anything else you want to say, Runner?
I can't think of anything else. I didn't think I'd like this movie as much as I did. I only got it because it was on the sale from Groove and all that, and they had a ton of like Universal movies on 4K on sale. So it was one of them that I got, and I liked it a lot more than I thought. I liked the interaction with I like the interactions that Kevin Costner has with Ray Liotta and James Earl Jones. I thought it was just great. Everyone was well cast.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie.
And that very end is like, that's how you fucking end a movie.
Here you go. This is, thank you, Inverse Opinion. I was wondering about, because I remember they had like the Field of Dreams baseball game. Like I couldn't remember if it, but it said the house was built. I was
pretty sure they had to build it,
but it can be rented out to overnight stays. Okay, that makes sense.
Because they had here was the thing I remember was they had the way they filmed it. If I remember correctly, they bought enough land or whatever for the house and the field.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had to build the field, basically, because otherwise it was just a lot. So, and then they had a certain date they had to have the corn up by. And if I remember right, I think they ended up, I can't remember, I think the corn grew too much or something like that. Either way, it's all in the making of the movie. Check it out.
Like
it's on the Blu-rays. But yeah, like it was a whole big rush.
It in the wrong season or whatever.
Yeah, it was a rush to get
higher.
it. Well, like the first batch died or something like that, and then is that where it was? It grew too high, and they ended up cutting off half of it just so it wasn't too high.
Something
or
like
whatever.
that. Yeah, I remember that, but I can't quite remember everything how they did it. So yeah, something like that.
Some big fiasco because of the corn. The fucking corn was a big pain in the ass. But yeah.
All right, Tom, you want to go since we're on a Costner thing?
Yeah,
here?
we might as well.
We
Here
might as well
because
go to you for your last pick.
the question to answer is, when did his career kind of take a shift? I guess it would have to be with this film here, and sadly, it's not. It's kind of a misconception. We'll get to that, and of course, I have every release of Waterworld that's ever come out. This is the original. This is the new 4K or newer 4K. It's actually a few years old. It's okay transfer, because that's actually the 4K was the basis for this, and this is the collection I recommend most. And actually, you can't get this 3-disc collection anymore, but they do have a 2-disc version of it for like $20-$30 depending on when you can get it.
Nice.
That's all you need anyway, and I'll explain in a moment here. But actually, Universal softened the 4K version of this so much that I almost dare say that the Blu-ray almost looks better. Like it has more natural grain.
Oh, really?
It doesn't look horrible, but it's not great. It's a little bit older 4K, I think, too. I think it came out in 2015 or something like that. But it also has a bonus disc that just has the Ulysses cut on it from this set. And for those who don't know what that is, but the theatrical version is all you get in 4K. Mm-hmm. But okay, so this 3-disc one I have from Arrow actually has 3 different cuts of the movie on it.
Oh, really?
There's the theatrical cut, the TV cut, and the Ulysses cut, which I just mentioned. Now, the only big difference between the TV cut and the Ulysses cut is that the TV cut has all the like all the stuff that was cut for television. Like they cut out his pissing.
To drink
any
it
of
or
the
whatever.
more violence is cut down, or the more, gorier violence. Obviously any words worse than hell or damn are cut out, shit like that. Mm-hmm. Now the Ulysses cut undoes that and just basically keeps all the new scenes that are added into the TV cut, which initially brought it up to like 2 hours and 40 some minutes. And the original version being like 2 hours and I think 2 hours and 15 minutes roughly. Yeah. So then what the Ulysses cut does is add back all the violence back in, or it's basically all the stuff from the theatrical cut added with the TV cut, and a couple more scenes that were only in the UK TV cut because they allowed more racier stuff than they did here.
Oh, really?
So the Ulysses cut is the full, complete 3-hour cut. Now, of course, does it make the movie better? It all depends on your taste. I've always liked Waterworld. In fact, it was a fairly decently received movie at the box office. The problem was it cost so fucking much.
Yeah.
That was the fucking problem. Because the movie made arguably quite a bit of money for the time. It made over 260 something. Let me look here. Altogether, because the budget was $235 million after it was all said and done. With a shooting budget of 100 and some million. Closer to 200, but like by the time you got all the marketing costs, it was like over 200 some million dollars. And it made 264 million at the box office. So it technically made more than it cost, but of course, after you figure the difference, it lost money.
Right.
But now if
for
the movie
advertising and stuff.
Yeah, now if the movie hadn't cost that goddamn much to make, had it cost what a normal movie would have cost then, or at least, a higher budget picture at that time, that would have been a huge success, right? For a movie in 1995 to make 260 some million dollars, that's pretty fucking good. But the problem was it was the most expensive movie ever made at that time. That was the problem. And for those who don't know, of course, the bigger problem of it being was that, water. it ain't quite. It was. This was one of those. And this is one of the kind of in those movies that I've talked about recently, like the Three Musketeers, Robin Hood, and Dick Tracy, and stuff, where it comes from that ambitious period before CGI, or when CGI was in its infancy yet, because they do have a little bit of CGI in here, but not much. It's mostly just compositing stuff,
right?
Because at that point they didn't quite have the ability to do. But now you can make Waterworld for probably really cheap.
Yeah, super cheap. You wouldn't even need to get in the
I wouldn't
ocean.
say super cheap, but in comparison, because that's the thing, is you wouldn't have to worry about. You basically just set yourself up, 10 feet offshore, put up a bunch of green screens.
Yep.
And you'd be set. You didn't have to worry about, because that's the thing, is they needed to, just like Jaws, because that's the thing. The director went and talked to Spielberg ahead of time. He's like, what advice do you have for me about shooting on the water? And Steven Spielberg said, don't.
Right. Yes, I remember that.
He's like, what do you mean? He's like, it's a fucking nightmare. He's like, Jaws was set for 45 days. It took 145 days to shoot.
Yeah.
And it is. It's because every time you have, and that was the same situation. You have to be able to swing the camera anywhere from 180 to, X amount of degrees without seeing any land, seeing any other ships, seeing anything in the background. And that can be damn near impossible, especially when you have a crew, cameras, there's different ships for the whole crew. You got ships off in the background. And, they did this math on Jaws, like they would have this issue, like, okay, there's a ship coming. Sure, it only takes so long to go across, it's going, 30 some miles or whatever an hour. But if it's way off in the horizon, the farther back it is, the longer it's going to take to get out of the camera's view. So they sat down and figured out how much time it would actually take to wait for those ships to go through, as opposed to resetting every shot. And a lot of times they just have to sit there and wait. So that's what a lot of it was just, and I'm assuming Waterworld was the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of hurry up and wait. You'd get a chance to shoot a scene, and then you'd have to fucking wait for some dinghy to come through. Half a mile down the way.
We're coming.
We just gotta sit there and wait, because it's all over let it get past the horizon, then we can shoot. In this movie they probably got away with some of those things a little bit more, because you just figure they're whatever ships. And then they did build the whole big, which is kind of the centerpiece of the film in the beginning, is the town that's built on the barges, where it's like all those barges put together.
Yeah.
And that is physically built, right? Like that's a thing they built. It is what it is. Like, they're like, that's not like a fake set at all. Like, people could get hurt. Like, it's all what you see is what it is. It's cobbled together shit. Like, yeah, sure, there's some little safety precautions taken here and there, but they're like, you got to remember, Kevin Costner's running around in bare feet. So is half the other cast, for the most part. So people can get hurt. You get cut. This is metal. Sure, it's painted up to look rusty and stuff like that, but it's still metal.
Yeah.
You got rivets, you got bolts sticking out and shit like that. So, people had to pay attention to that kind of crap. And then you have all the water stunts, right? Like, those were intense, because you had things that, like water skis don't do half the shit they're trying to get them to do in the movie. So they would literally have to have 2 or 3 skis to do one shot. So these were all set up things that they were intense stunts. And just to speak to the popularity of the film, to this day, it's still one of the more popular attractions at Universal, is the Waterworld stunt thing.
Yeah.
In fact, a stunt performer just got hurt last week.
Oops.
So again, this movie, as much of a butt of jokes it is, and kind of the end of an era for Kevin Costner,
That's why I remember seeing it in the
arguably
first
not
place.
the end of his career, right? This was not the movie
yeah.
that did it. I would argue it was more like The Postman that did it.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's true. That's true. Because, like I said, that's one of the reasons why I watched Waterworld, was because I remember hearing at the time that, this is the most expensive flop of all time, and it's just a horrible movie. And I watched it. And I was like,
at the end of the day, I don't think it lost as much money as people think it did. Yeah,
I know, that's what I'm saying. But like at the time when it was released, I remember hearing that, and when I watched it, I was like, I didn't think it was that bad. I was like, it's not like nothing to write home about, but it's not a bad movie. I don't understand what the big deal was. And I know my brother below me, he loves the movie. He's bought it a couple times like you have. Yes, but I would say even the Postman. I think the Postman is what did it. It's like, ugh.
Between
And
that
I
and
know people
Wyatt
like
Earp,
that one too, but it just
Wyatt Earp and the Postman were two very big disappointments in a row.
I mean,
yeah, that was
Yeah.
the two that really kind of put him on the
when
outskirts.
Tombstone
of
comes out and everybody's like hyped on Tombstone, and then you go see like a 6-hour Wyatt Earp Kevin Costner movie, you're like, yeah, this. I just go watch Tombstone again.
Pretty much. And then and Postman was the same kind of problem. It was a 3-hour, overly pretentious film, and I barely remember it.
I would say that's probably his problem. That was his how long his movie started, which we're sort of running into that problem nowadays. So
Which was kind of sad because it was like that kind of a, that kind of a thing kept movies like Tin Cup from being bigger hits, probably.
Because Tin Cup was awesome.
Because by that point he was becoming box office poison.
Mm-hmm.
Which is sad because that's where the fall of the movie star comes in, and that's why I kind of waited to get into that part, Runner, and the rest of y'all in the chat we were talking to about it. Because he was at one point arguably one of the most bankable movie stars in Hollywood. Not only that, he was a double banger. He was like Mel Gibson. He was both a director and a star. Yeah. And he delivered shit like Dances with Wolves and stuff like that. So like
yeah. I would say though. Do you guys remember that one? I don't know. I bet Runner don't. But you remember the Kurt Russell, Kevin Costner Elvis movie, 2,000 Miles of Graceland?
Yeah, that was in that period.
Yeah, that was in that period. That has a little bit of charm to it, but yeah, even then it
was another expensive flop though from my memory.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, why have I not heard of that movie?
Did they play Elvis impersonators? Kurt Russell and speaking of which,
it's a heist movie. It's actually pretty good. It's actually very good, but it's never gotten released on Blu-ray, I don't think.
No, I think so.
I still have the old ass DVD.
I remember Courtney Cox is in it, and it's
not
a
hell of a cast.
Yeah, it's not really a bad movie.
The only thing it's missing is Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, that would have been. Could you imagine Kurt Russell, Nicolas Cage, and Kevin Costner as Elvis?
Oh my god,
that would have been.
That's what I say. That's like the only thing is fucking missing. It's like.
Oh, you know
maybe Val Kilmer too. Like that would have been perfect.
Val Kilmer. I was just gonna say that because he was great as Elvis in True Romance.
No, it's actually a really good movie, but it needs a new release. Hardcore.
Yeah. That's Warner Brothers.
3,000 Miles to Graceland. Yeah. Maybe we'll get lucky this year.
Yeah.
Well, with Costner's star on the uptick, that's the thing is now he's gotten his comeback with Yellowstone, and he just won for that last year for this year here, and I'm so in love with this fucking show. Like it's made me go in a way kind of respect the actor that he used to be, right? Because I just watched Robin Hood before I even started the Yellowstone deep dive. And I'm like, oh god, this movie's a lot better than I remember it. In fact, I had a lot of fucking fun watching it. I went on for like 20 minutes about the movie.
Yeah.
And I could go on and on about Waterworld too, because they got a really great documentary on here, of course, being Arrow. There's not a shit ton of extras, but there is, this really nice feature-length documentary where they get into it with the writer and some other people on the production, and you find out that they had a much more ambitious idea for this movie that you kind of go, I see what they were going for and I see what happened. Right. And that's kind of where the Ulysses cut kind of helps. But to me, the Ulysses cut is good, but I don't know if you really get that much more out of it than you do the theatrical cut, because the big thing with the Ulysses cut that it's more, they still fuck it up. They shouldn't have the narration over the beginning, because the whole point of the original story was you were supposed to think you were kind of on like a foreign planet, because the initial idea was Mad Max on the water. Yes. But you had the Kevin Costner's character. I think he's called the Mariner. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Submariner.
Yeah, basically. It's a word I can't say very well as I stutter on. Sorry. And then, so you have his type of character where there were supposed to be more mutants than him, though. Like there was supposed to be a whole bunch of other mutants, and especially like the smokers were going to be made up of like half crab people and shit like that. So like people were starting to become crustaceans and shit. So they had a much more ambitious idea, and it would have been more toyetic, right? Like it was meant to clearly be more for like this to jumpstart kind of a franchise kind of thing. And you could see where there'd been more toys involved and where it could have been a bit more, but of course budget got in the way of that right away. And the movie started becoming a bit more Mad Max-ish than it was that.
Right.
But of course, then the whole idea is you didn't know you were on Earth until the end. Like that was the whole catch, is it had a Planet of the Apes ending.
I was about to say Planet of the Apes.
And that's kind of what the Ulysses cut is a big difference in it is, other than just like a lot of padding in between scenes, is at the end you find out they're on Mount Everest. The land that they found is they brush away a piece of the and there's a big rock that says Mount Everest, whatever date, blah 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 blah.
Right.
So that's like the first time you're supposed to get. I mean, you kind of have an inclination, obviously, that they're on Earth, but that's like there was Earth the whole time kind of Planet of the Apes moment. But in the theatrical cut, they tell you right away where you're at, what's going on, just get you right into the story. So in some ways, I don't mind the theatrical cut, because the theatrical cut is a very, very well edited, fast paced, action, fun, thrilling kind of Mad Max movie. Right. And especially you notice that when you watch the Ulysses cut, because there's a lot of just little things that just slow scenes down, and you're like, yeah, it's nice to have that, but I probably wouldn't have kept that. And I can see why it was edited out to begin with. Yeah.
I get you. But like you said, I'm with you though. I don't really think it's a bad movie. I haven't seen it in a long time though, but I don't think it's a bad movie. And like I said, I know some people in the chat really like this one. Personally, I didn't like The Postman. I didn't care for that one.
And if you don't care about special features, just get the 4K, because you got both the Ulysses cut and it's only on a Blu-ray, but I didn't check to see if Universal fucked with it though. I should have before this. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Because I watched the Ulysses cut from Waterworld on the Arrow set. I mean, sorry.
True.
I have the 4K of Waterworld. I also bought it with the Groove deal that I got. I think I started watching it a little bit. The only thing I remember is the part where he's like pissing on the thing to like get water and stuff.
Well, I can't believe I didn't mention Dennis Hopper at all, who's amazing.
Oh yeah, Dennis Hopper's like the bad guy, ain't he?
Yeah.
The eye patch.
You said you wouldn't kill me if I told you. Maybe I did. He's right. Maybe I did say it. I did. Maybe I did. And then the other guy comes up, just boom.
It was good. But that's there you go.
But it is kind of hard to believe. Oh, here, of course, there's the goofiness. Let's be real. This is another reason why people make fun of this movie. It is a very tough pill to swallow. This movie is a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
Let's be goddamn real. First of all, it's supposed to be a couple hundred years after the Earth has been swallowed up by water. How the fuck are they still getting cigarettes for the smokers? You had all this other shit that that Kevin Costner find is like, amazing to them, and they don't even know what it is. And then like it's just then the other scientific part of it is they did the math, and if the polar ice caps were to actually melt, it would not do jack shit really. The ocean would raise like 2 or 3 feet, I think it is, and at most we'd lose a couple feet of the coastlines. At most, in some places. Like, it would not have nearly the dramatic effect that they make it out to have in this movie.
It's true. That's also sort of the charm to it. Be like you said, it's like, even though it's this like weird cartoony thing, but that's sort of like the charm. I mean, it just goes for it.
It doesn't pretend to be anything other than what it is, and that is Mad Max on the water, and that was its initial inspiration, right? Because the guy who wrote it was working for, I can't remember what company at the time. I think it was, it might have been Golden Globus. But I can remember because he was talking about how the fact that, you could throw a fucking rock and you had some Mad Max ripoff because they were very, very cheap and easy to reproduce. And he's like, but I want to do something different. And he thought, in his wisdom at the time, how stupid he was, that, we'll just do that on the water, though, because, these movies are always shot in the desert. So let's the opposite. Well, let's do it on the water. That's easy. And he thought it would be easy. That was his big mistake. Everybody told him from the start, you're like, you're fucking insane. This movie's going to cost a fortune. But he kept with it. And for years, he nursed this idea until, it became what it was. And it got kind of taken away from him and reformed into the Kevin Costner vehicle. But yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. But that's a good pickup. I haven't seen Waterworld in years though.
Well, and I've had it
I
for
never
a
really
while,
had a
but
problem with it though. So
I don't know. I just got a bug to watch it, which is funny. And then I mentioned it as a joke for the Toxic Tuesday movies, and we're actually doing it next Toxic Tuesday.
Hey, there you go. That's awesome. At least you're prepared.
Yeah, I mentioned it as a joke, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're doing it now.
But now you're prepared. Should I go or should Runner go for the last pick?
Well, it's your show, so you decide.
Let's see. I'll probably go
Runner.
because.
Are you gonna go?
Yeah, because my movie we probably won't talk hardly anything about. But
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
If you want to go, you want to go. But it was funny because you mentioned Kurt Russell, and I have a Kurt Russell.
Oh, well, we might as well go for that then, because go for it.
I broke the curse.
Broke the
again.
curse.
Broke the curse. You shouldn't have said nothing, and then we could have just yelled at you.
Well, no, because I was like, I mean, it could have gone either way, but no, this is a Kurt Russell film. It stars William Baldwin and Robert De Niro. I already gave the movie away. It's Backdraft.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ladder 49.
And I've had that 4K and I've watched it. Yeah,
It's a good. Yeah, Backdraft's a good movie.
I believe it's from the negative. Looks pretty good from my memory.
Yeah, but no, but once Greg mentioned Kurt Russell, I'm like, oh damn it, I got a Kurt Russell movie.
There you go. You got to sneak it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good movie. That about firefighters and the.
Yeah, Backdraft was a really good movie back when I mean Ron Howard's a good director, but this was before he made dog shit like Solo.
Honestly, Solo is one of his rare outliers. Like for the most part, most of his movies have been pretty damn good to decent.
Yeah. I agree.
That was kind of just like
amazing.
a work for hire type thing that he just finished.
Yeah, I know that was definitely a higher thing for him. But yeah, I agree. Like the movies I've seen that he's directed are like pretty more than good, honestly. Like in my opinion.
That's what I mean. Even his least of his movies, I mean, obviously I'd put this Solo at the long other end of that, but it's like I don't even really consider that one of his films.
Right.
Oh, Solo, yeah. I agree. Like compared to his other shit, like Backdraft is great, Willow, stuff like that. Like that's good.
Well, and I mean I haven't seen some of his other stuff, but like the stuff that I have seen, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a trailer for his latest film. I forgot what it was called, but it's a.
Did he do the Da Vinci sequel? Because I didn't. Yeah, he did. I'm looking at it now. Okay, so because I didn't care for the sequel. The first one was okay. I mean, he's had a few misses, but not even his misses, even the Grinch and Ed TV and stuff like that, aren't nearly as bad as some.
I forgot he directed the live action Grinch movie.
Yeah,
I hate that movie.
I honestly I haven't seen that movie in so fucking long.
But he had a hell of a run there.
I don't remember the movie all that well.
You could argue
it looked weird though. I was
gonna say you could argue from Night Shift through basically, depending on if you like the paper or not, up through Ransom, he was pretty damn good. And then he started getting a little.
Oh, is Ransom on Blu-ray? That's a good movie.
Yes, that's I'm
gonna have to look that one up. I haven't seen that in years either.
The paper's the only floppy one in the middle there, but after that he still did Apollo 13 and Ransom. To me, Ed TV is where he started going off the rails.
Yeah, I didn't much care for Ed TV.
Because after Ed TV is when he did Grinch, Beautiful Mind, The Missing, Cinderella Man, Da Vinci Code, Frost Nixon, Angels and Demons, The Dilemma. Rush was one of his more popular ones.
Oh, I heard Rush was good.
Yeah,
with Chris Hemsworth.
In this Heart of the Sea, I think that was one that didn't do too well, though.
I actually like In the Heart of the Sea. I haven't
seen it, so yeah, I can't. I
own it on 4K.
Made in America was another one I don't think I've seen yet. So,
though I will say, with In the Heart of the Sea, it's the story that inspired Moby Dick supposedly. So it's got a great cast. It's got Chris Hemsworth. It's got a pre-Spider-Man. What's his name? Or was it during Spider-Man? I don't remember. Tom Holland. Tom Holland's in it. I can't remember the rest of the cast, but yeah, it's not a bad movie. So
yeah, and then with Backdraft though, that was kind of one of the first movies that really pushed him from being just kind of like, fun director into serious director.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Backdraft is sad at the same time too. The plain and simple, they fired the guys that were directing. Kathleen Kennedy fired them.
88 days.
They fired. Was it
Lord and Miller after 88 days, and they brought in Ron Howard.
Yeah.
And Ron Howard just basically did a mop-up job, is what he did.
Yep. Pretty much.
And and I could tell. I remember what. What's funny? I don't know if I told Tom or you this story, Greg, but I saw Solo in the theater, and almost the entire time, my friends and I were just talking in the theater. It was just us. Talking in the shit you not.
To me, it looked like shit. I mean, beyond the fact that the story was shit, like I was having a hard time telling what the fuck, and I was watching it in 3D, but that should have helped me differentiate what the fuck was going on. But everything was shot in so much smoke and smudge that you can't see a goddamn thing until the train scene. And that train scene is so fucking idiotic because you're just sitting there going,
I agree.
If you had such an unstable element, wouldn't you transport it by flight?
We must not think about plot things like that.
It's not like we live in an era where getting a simple transport flying vehicle is out of the ordinary. Like it's just none of that. The whole fucking Kessel Run thing pissed me off to no end because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, maybe the Kessel Run is some kind of like smuggling route, but as a kid, and now please don't make too much fun of me, but as a kid, since he mentioned that after the whole thing with about like the Millennium Falcon is the only ship that can make the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought it was a race.
Yep.
That's what I thought as a kid. Like it's just a classic race, like they used to do with fast ships. Kind of like the whole thing with. Eventually had pod racing, and George Lucas was always into racing, so I just assumed.
Me too.
He just entered the ship in a race, being that I'm going to prove it's the fastest ship in the galaxy, and he proved it by winning this. It was supposed to be this, big huge race, like the Indy 500 kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Honestly, I can understand why you'd think that.
Either way, the way it is in the movie is fucking stupid.
It is.
Oh yeah. Like I said, like literally, like my friends and I were talking almost the entire time.
Exactly. It sounds like this underground Indy 500 thing that only the smugglers would do. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
as this thing to who's got the fastest ship, kind of a sporty thing to, and it's just like to me, it was him saying it's the ship that has not yet been beat in the Kessel Run. That's what I thought he was saying. Like the Kessel Run was like the Cannonball Run. That was my other reason for thinking that as a kid, because I loved the Cannonball Run movies. Yeah,
me too. I love those movies.
Yeah, no, like literally, like I mean, even like all that, even with all that dumb shit that you were just saying, Tom, like literally, like our friends and I just didn't pay attention. Like we just didn't care.
It's just not a good movie. It's just really not.
It's not.
It
not
really
not.
lost me.
Boring.
The moment it lost me was when they said, "What's your name, Han? What's your last name? I don't have one."
Oh,
So you must be Solo.
God.
So you must be Solo. Okay, Han Solo. That is the moment I'm like, "Fuck you!"
It's so dumb. It's as bad as, who are you? Rey Skywalker.
Oh yes. And then the Chewie bit really pissed me off too, because I'm like, Chewie, like they had no, like, okay, I'm like, wait a minute here. In most versions that I have always known from the EU or whatever, Han was raised by Wookiees. That's how he knew how to speak it. Like him just happening to know a little bit of Wookiee, and that saves his ass from Chewbacca, who has literally killed every other prisoner that they've had in there, is just utter bullshit.
Just dumb. It's just dumb.
It's just
Dumb
dumb.
could get. It's true. But Backdraft is a great movie.
Yes, Backdraft. And that's Runner's fault. He got us on the solo talk.
Yeah, Runner.
I'm so sorry.
Runner Solo.
But yes, Joey, I agree. The movie should have been Smokey and the Bandit in space.
Mhm.
And if it was going to be about the Kessel Run, even if that's the case, yeah, it just
Please don't insult me like that, Greg. He called me Runner Solo.
Yes, you Runner Solo.
You're by yourself, aren't you?
You're by yourself in this argument.
I cringed so hard when that happened too.
You change your name to Runner Solo now.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
You can do it, Greg.
Oh yes, I can.
I'm not. And I forgot Hans Zimmer composed the score for
back when he actually made music.
Yeah. It was a good score.
But yeah, Backdraft is a great movie.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell's great in it.
Yeah.
The whole thing with De Niro and his character's great. One of the decent Baldwin brothers is in it.
Yeah.
True.
So the one that's not a murderer, maybe. So
stay on target, as Tim Morrill says.
No, but it and I'll be honest with you, like all the shots, like with the fires and all that, the way it's like shot and all that and stuff, like
it's all pre-CG, man. They didn't have a lot of other means to do it other than practical.
it's great. I love the like when the smoke comes out, like how they do the backdraft where it like comes under the door, then it gets sucked back in, and it's like run. I love that. That is a great scene.
You know what's cool is my dad was actually a volunteer firefighter at the time that movie came out, and he loved that movie. He's like, he was always in like getting into all this shit, and yeah.
Yeah, it was good, and then it's got a sad ending, and it's like a sort of like a passing of the torch type thing. It's pun intended.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, that's it. It's a good pick.
Yeah. Oh, and what's his name? The bad guy, Scott Glenn.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Scott Glenn.
Yeah, he's in it. He
You know,
great.
I don't mind Ron Howard as an actor.
He's a better director.
Yeah, he's a better director, but so
He's all right.
there's a reason he became a director over an actor. So
I don't know if I've ever seen a movie where he's acted.
I've seen him on Happy Days, Andy Griffith,
Yeah.
the Shootist with John
American
Wayne,
Graffiti 1 and 2.
American Graffiti. Yeah, he's not bad at American Graffiti. I'm looking forward to that 4K as long as that comes true because I know that was rumored.
I think Lucas already scanned it years ago. Yeah.
So I'm excited. That's one of my favorites.
I still
I
haven't
think he's
seen that one yet.
I think he scanned them all in 6K or whatever it was back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, American Graffiti.
Love that movie. Love that movie.
Was it really that good?
Well, I don't want to oversell it. It's just one of those movies that it's not like it doesn't really have a plot. Like it doesn't. It's
one of these
it's
like
just-
disconnected stories on one night.
It's a slice of life. Yeah, it's a real kind of. Have you ever seen like Dazed and Confused or what's another movie that's kind of like it that's more recent that Runner may have seen? I can't think of anything more recent because nothing is good. But no, like it's a really great film. It's just like you got it, like he said, a group of teenagers. It's their last night in high school for some of them, and they're all headed on different paths. And as a film student, I think you'll look at it a certain way, and you might enjoy it more so than most people your age would. So I don't want to actually sell you short.
I can see that. I've heard whenever somebody brings up that movie, I've heard like some people say like, oh, it's like good to like middle or whatever, okay, or something like that. That's what I've heard people say.
I hate to argue that it's actually George Lucas's best movie.
It's really good, and even though it was taken from him and re-edited as well.
As far as like, okay, yeah, Star Wars is more fun and it's Star Wars, but if you want to go like pound for pound, what's a better film as far as a film? It might be American Graffiti. I know I'm sacrilege for saying that, but I don't know. Maybe also my love for Star Wars is also kind of
That's true. I
Again,
mean,
more American Graffiti. Oh.
but he didn't direct that one, so
No, he didn't. But he is responsible for what's wrong with it. And yeah, it's a movie that should have never happened. The sequel, anyway. Let's say. But,
yeah. Especially
I didn't even know
considering
there
like the one kid. Well, I don't want to spoil it for Runner because like the one guy says something happens to him, and then in the movie they bring him back and they have to go this whole convoluted thing of what happened. Like, you know. So,
yeah, because you have the problem of they kind of tell you everything that happens to these characters at the end of the movie, and then to fill in the sequel, it makes everything kind of. You already know where this shit's going. So it's just a matter of George fucking, or well, whoever George I think still wrote it, but you know, George fucking with you basically. Yeah, George fucking Lucas fucking with you through half the movie, like trying to make you figure out when certain things are going to happen to certain characters. But it's missing Richard Dreyfuss too, on top of it all, which arguably shouldn't happen anyway. So I don't think he would have helped it if he was there. That's my point. And it does this whole split screen thing with the editing and this psychedelic shit that I don't know. It was just George and his experimental bullshit.
It's not a movie he did a special edition to, did he?
Oh fuck no. It's barely I'm surprised it's on Blu-ray. I am so surprised it's on Blu-ray. Because it barely got released on DVD. Like, I think the only way you could get it back in the day on DVD was when they had a very limited run of the first film with the second film in a box set. I don't ever remember more American Graffiti getting its own release on DVD. And then out of the blue, it got a release on Blu-ray here, like last year, because I picked it up. I'm like, oh, fuck it. But Marsha was actually the editor on it, Marsha Lucas. And George insisted on this editing style, and I guess it was a nightmare for her to do. And if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, for Runner, like I said, a lot of it's in like this weird split screen shit. Like 2-3 cameras in some cases, all at the same time from different angles, and it gets really disorienting. It's a weirdly shot film, weirdly edited. It's trying to be all psychedelic and 60s and shit because it takes place in the later 60s and shit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the first film, that's the whole other thing about the first film. First film is kind of the end of innocence of the 1950s, even though it takes place in like 1962. Like that's where a lot of people say the 50s ended. And then it really, you know, died with JFK kind of thing. But like, the Vietnam War was kicking in. It was a different time, was on the horizon. That's the whole point. It was the end of the innocent era. Of just car hopping and, you know, kissing girls on a back road kind of thing.
Right. And the Suzanne Summers character. Ooh.
I got a question. Speaking of George Lucas and American Graffiti, did you ever see this one interview? I think this was this was on set on the set of Halloween. John Carpenter was interviewed and he was asked about George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. And he said that he liked Jaws, like when it comes to like Steven Spielberg, and he says he hated Close Encounters or something.
Who said this?
John Carpenter.
Oh, really? Weird.
I saw this on Twitter one day, like
because I think John would love Close Encounters. That's like a movie John would make.
Yeah,
yeah.
Maybe that's what he doesn't like about it.
He says he hated it. Like he says he
Weird.
doesn't like it. He says he liked Jaws though. And he said that I think he said he liked American Graffiti from George Lucas, but he just didn't give a shit about Star Wars or something like that.
Yeah, that I'm not surprised with, but I think he'd have more beef with E.T. Because E.T. is the other alien movie that came out in '82 that beat the hell out of his.
Yeah. I love E.T., but I do think Starman might be a better movie. So
in the end, you may be right.
I kind of agree. Yeah. Well, I haven't seen E.T. in a long ass fucking time, so I don't know.
I don't think George Lucas is a very strong director.
No, he's not.
I think that's why
good idea, man.
Yeah, I think that's why people like the Empire Strikes Back and stuff is like they knew how to take the ideal he had and turn it into something.
And this is why I will argue that American Graffiti is probably his best film, because that is the most him. Each and every one of those characters is a part of him. And he wrote that. Like, it's his direction, his writing. He is that movie has the most of his stamp on it outside of Star Wars. And to me, that is why I would probably have to sit there and argue that it's probably objectively the better film of the two, if that makes sense. It's the more original. It has the more heart to it. It has a more of a basis for, like the levels to it. Star Wars is just kind of straightforward. Like it's very analog, straightforward, to where American Graffiti is one of those movies I feel like never really got the attention it deserved. I mean, yeah, it was a big hit for him when it came out, but I think it got robbed of Oscars and other things is what I'm saying.
I did too, but also, though, you hear him complain about it too, because it was taken from him and re-edited.
Well, he got his version back very early on, so he quit his bitching. And we haven't even mentioned the music on that soundtrack.
Dude, if I could get
that made that, like, man.
The music, the soundtrack is like awesome. I love that, and I actually have one of those. I can't get to it, but I have the VHS. That you remember they came out with, like, it's like in the clamshell special editions.
I have that one with the silver.
Yeah, and it's got the CD with it on the back, shaped like the waitress holding a thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to mine. I wish I still had it, but yeah.
I have it. I bought it at a yard sale, but I can't get the CD off the back of the It's like stuck to it. So... but yeah, I agree. The music has really helped sell that movie. Wolfman Jack. It's got freaking Wolfman Jack.
Fuck yeah, I forgot about Wolfman Jack.
Dude, yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, it's just awesome.
It's Wolfman.
Yeah, Wolfman Jack.
Yeah, Media Archive, Mike, THX 1138. Not a very good movie. It is very stylized, cold, pretentious college student level type shit. It's not horrible, but it's not nearly
the best thing THX 1138 inspired. Have you ever seen the movie? It's what is the name of it? Fanboys. Have you ever seen the movie Fanboys?
Oh, of course, yeah, it's very funny.
That's the best, with the best use of THX 1138 when they're breaking into the Lucas Skywalker Ranch, and all the security guards are dressed like that in that room.
But as you'll see, if you when you do watch it, just to get back to Ron Howard, the character he portrays, like as you'll see when you get into the movie Runner, each one of those characters is a part of George Lucas. You got the nerdy guy, you've got the ambition, the writer kind of guy, that's the Richard Dreyfuss character. You have the gearhead, and that's the what's his face from Puppet Master, Phil LaMatte, and then you've got Paul LaMatte, thank you, and then you have, of course, Ron Howard's character, which represents, like Marsha, kids getting married. And you see a lot of George in this movie, and you see where he's coming from. He probably expresses himself better through this movie than he ever probably could to people like we're talking right now. Yeah,
I agree, and I'm looking forward to it, Runner. I think you will like this movie.
No, I feel like I would.
Yeah, but don't, because I know Tom and we have a tendency to oversell. Like, I can oversell.
You know what's
really
funny
bad,
is Suzanne Summers is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
she's the thing that he's going after.
I mean, I do think that this movie is. I feel like I'd like it because, Tom oversold the hell out of that David Carradine movie.
I know Tom.
I just oversold the hell out of American Graffiti for you too, but I think you'll actually appreciate this.
Yeah,
no, especially once you look at it through the metaphors that I just gave you, knowing that each one of these characters represents a part of George. And what is about to happen, because you got to remember, this is also just before Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, this is his representation of his life as he's I'm leaving my home, heading off to, and that's what Suzanne Summers' character kind of represents.
And pretty much, I don't want to get too deep into it. The end of Simplicity. Or what was he saying?
Exactly. Yeah. All that shit.
Because
Going
what
into a
would
whole
come
new era.
afterwards, for George Lucas is vastly different than what he was portraying in American Graffiti. So, yeah, I get it. It's a really great character study of a director.
But I can see why people like THX. And as far as Ron Howard goes, yeah, I'd put that film Backdraft on his, probably in his top 5, maybe.
Yeah, it would. It's a good movie. Alrighty then. Anything else, Runner, before I move on to my last pick?
Nope, nothing to say. Right. Go ahead, Greg.
Now, I guarantee you, neither one of you have seen this. I know you own it, Tom, because you sent me this copy. And that would be Miami Connection.
I haven't got a chance to check it out yet.
I figured you had not. I just checked it out. I finally got a chance to see it. That from Vinegar Syndrome. Tom sent this to me. Thank you, Tom, for this.
That is such badass artwork.
The artwork is better than the movie.
Oh, I bet.
But the movie, I love the movie because it's just that bad. But yeah,
I've seen enough of it on RLM that I.
Yeah.
That's the 4K, right?
Get to the 4K. Yeah, the 4K, and then. Inside of
I don't think it came from the negative. I think they lost the negative though, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it was like the way they say it was like cobbled together or whatever. Restored from its recently unearthed 35 millimeter inner positive. So
inner positive.
Yeah. It's one of those movies that's so bad it's good. It's I just think about it. I laugh because it's crazy. So basically, the movie I don't want to spoil too much, especially for Tom if you're going to watch it. So basically,
there's not much you can really spoil. Like I said, I've seen quite a bit of it already on RLM and stuff.
Yeah. So basically, like it starts with this like big cocaine deal in Miami, and like these ninjas just show up and kill everybody and steal the coke and the money. And then we move over to I love that it's called Miami Connection, and they're like maybe in Miami twice. It's mostly in Orlando, Florida. But I get where their connection because the drugs. That's where like the ninjas are stealing these drugs and running them through down to where this band called the Dragon Sound, who are also experts in Taekwondo, are singing at this nightclub, and they run afoul of the guy that's in between the ninjas and them, and fighting and killing and crazy shit ensue with really bad acting, and the main guy can hardly speak a word of English, so he can be hard to understand sometimes. But it's got some decent fight scenes and some really bad fight scenes where you could tell they're missing each other like crazy, and people are falling down and getting like And it's just some like over the top dramatic scenes, like this one dude. Like the band are all supposed to be orphans, but yet they find out the one black guy in the group has a dad who ran out on him. And his mom was Korean and his dad left him, and he's been searching for his dad, and he's going to find his dad. And there's like, it's okay, you're still one of us. And it's great. It's just really bad, but it's so fun and cheesy. And I don't know how to explain this movie. I really just don't know how to explain this movie because I don't know, but I had a fun time watching it. And the 4K scan is not bad. It's got the Graham, it's Vinegar Syndrome. Like, it's the best scan you're going to get. And it sounded right. It sounded good. And if you get a chance to watch it, Tom, sometime, watch it. It's on my list. Yeah. Yeah. I finally got to it after, you sent it to me, and I thought, I want to sit down and watch this. It has like, literally the band has like one really good song that they play twice, and you can tell that was like the best song they wrote because they play that song twice.
What do you mean? That's like one of the only ones they wrote. No.
Yeah, well, they sing like 3 songs, and the second song they sing, or is it the first song they sing? I can't remember. They sing it. They show that song. That's the song twice in the film. But yeah, like one of the guys in the band is dating the guy's sister of the guy that's running the drugs for the ninjas. So that's how they get involved into their skirmish. And then the band they replaced in the nightclub wants to kick their ass. So they team up with the drug runners to kick their ass so they can get their jobs back at the club. Even the club owner just beat the shit out of the band that used to work there and told him that he doesn't want him to come back. So it's like, okay. But yeah, and everybody knows karate. Even like the whitest of white dudes like the owner of the club is like this sort of chunky fat guy. He just all of a sudden he whips out karate and starts just kicking the old man's ass. It's like, how does he even know how to do spin kicks and jump kicks and all that stuff? So it's just crazy nonsensical movie, and it's a fun one. That's all I really gotta say. So I said I knew there wouldn't be much discussion on it.
Well, this is one we probably should have coordinated a little bit
Yeah,
better.
yeah. If I would have, I should have told you I watched it. I actually watched it last week.
Yeah. We should do that more often because we mentioned that before.
Yeah, it's one of the ones I had left over.
I don't want to watch it now.
Oh, you watch it, and I swear, there's this one scene they had to just set up cameras.
I haven't seen it. I just want to watch it.
Oh yeah, it's bad, but it's good.
I bet.
No, you don't want to. You gotta.
You gotta see it. It's so bad. It's good. It's and I'm pretty sure this is the one scene where they're like at this biker bar. I'm pretty sure those are all real people except for the 3 actors they have. I'm pretty sure they just like put into actors and filmed them and didn't bother to tell the people there that they were actors, because the women that are taking off their tops and stuff, they're like they're not models. They're not models by any stretch of the meaning. I mean, some of them's got stretch marks where they've had kids. And so I'm pretty sure, and there's like really no dialogue. It's just like music and motorcycles revving up. So I'm pretty sure they just set up cameras and filmed these actors at this motorcycle club to make it look like they were, these really badass guys. So yeah. But that's about all I got for you guys. Beautiful artwork on the Vinegar Syndrome release, though.
Oh yeah, it's amazing artwork.
Yeah. Well, good night to you, Brian Barth. Glad to see you hang out with us. And
good night.
Yeah, cheers to you, Dalton B. I hope you enjoy the replay when you come back. But any final words from you two, you guys, as we get ready to close it out?
I don't have. Oh, I'll say this. I watched a ton of shit recently, especially after I got my Kino Lorber delivery. Like I have a lot more. I got a decent amount than just Hard Target.
I want to say right now, real quick. I don't know if anybody from Kino's listening or not. I mean, I don't want to assume, but it'd be nice. So. But I just want to say, you guys are above and beyond. You guys have great customer service. Quickly becoming, in my opinion, the best Blu-ray company out there, hands down. Not just because of quality or anything like that, just all around. Like an even balance, even keel of just about everything. And even though there's been some things here and there, whatever, I mean, I know it's not all their faults all the time, so I'm willing to overlook that because the price is always right.
Yeah, I agree.
And they give respect, and like you said, Greg, how many times have we turned around and go, is that on Blu-ray yet? And we'll just go look for, oh yeah, Kino Lorber released it.
Exactly. And speaking of which, Kino Lorber, which I really love, that I was just thinking about that Susanna Hoffs movie. I don't know if you remember that, because I actually was seeing her, thinking about her.
I remember you mentioning something, but
yeah, it's called The All Nighter or something.
Yeah,
and Kino has it on Blu-ray. So
of course they do.
There you go. So I'll probably be getting that soon, because Susanna Hoffs was freaking smoking hot, and I don't think the movie was particularly good, but I kind of want to see it again.
I mean, Tim, I get what you're saying as far as the quality control, unless there's some specifics you can give me that would be their fault necessarily. Like they're at the mercy. That's more
like on Amazon's front.
As far as the quality control, like as far as the discs, like I don't know what you mean. If you mean like the quality of the picture, they're at the mercy of whatever they get from the studios usually, unless they're able to do the scans themselves, which I'm not even sure if they're able to do that necessarily. But yeah, whatever they get from MGM, they're stuck with it.
Yeah, MGM unfortunately. Yeah,
and unless it's a bigger title, they won't do shit. Yeah.
And I just got Planet of the Vampires from Kino. So if you are listening to Kino, that was a great title. But anyways, go ahead, Renner.
No, I was gonna say, like, like speaking of Kino, like I literally got my package, they delivered my package in like literally a week from when I ordered it. So
I mean, when they have their sales and I can spend $200 and get 25, 30 movies. That's fucking insane. Like, I mean, they have tons of shit. Tons of shit. Just endless titles you wouldn't even believe. And it's amazing.
I've only really gone through their 4Ks. I didn't go so much through their Blu-rays just because, you have...
Oh, they're endless.
Are you... Fuck you, Greg, you piece of
what?
shit.
What?
Talking Kino.
No, look at my fucking name. That's not my fucking name, you dick.
That was the last one. But yes, I don't know if some of these companies listen to that. I really don't know, but I'm hoping I'm getting to that level someday, but if not, that's fine. But Kino, I agree. There would have been a time I would have said Shout Factory was my favorite, but Kino, I find more and more movies through Kino lately, and I've been finding some really great ones, and I shout out to them, seriously. They're doing a heck of a job.
Yeah, I mean, on the quality control front, I can't say I've had any worse problems with them than I've had with most. And you know what they do? I didn't even have to. I must have happened to get Hard Target through Kino, or they just happened to monitor through Amazon. I don't know what. Can't remember even how I bought it. I got the Hard Target replacement disc without even trying to get it.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
And there's another one or so that the one other time they fucked on something. I can't remember what it was. Actually, no, that wasn't them. That was Vinegar Syndrome. But they're the same way. Just automatically, boom, got sent out to me. I didn't even have to ask for it.
Yeah.
That kind of customer service is amazing. Both of those, actually. Those two right now are my two favorites. Like,
yes.
I mean, as far as like the scans go, shit. You can't get no better than Vinegar Syndrome. They don't fuck around there. And they don't overdo anything. They don't mess around with shit. You still get some of the, and I don't mind getting some of the blemishes once in a while. I'd rather have some of the blemishes than have them DNR it to shit.
Right.
That's true.
That's true. I'm with you, man. But yeah, I agree. Seriously, I'm honest. I go through titles of movies that I think about or hear about, and sure enough, Kino Lorber has that movie. Yeah. So
and you're right, happy. Tim. They are probably corporate, just like Shout in that sense, but at least they keep their prices up. That's what I'm saying. Because Shout will do worse onto us, because that's what I bitched about. Is even though sometimes they'll throw a few extra new special features in there, unless they're doing a new scan, it's the same fucking scan as before, and they'll slap on like a Shout Select title. That to me pisses it up. Just pisses me off.
Yeah, where they just put the
same old fucking transfer, and it's like, are you kidding me? And Shout's not as bad as some of the others, don't get me wrong, but I mean they're slowly pissing me off.
I understand.
But yep, that is what it is. But anything
with that,
with that, Tom, do you want me to pop that in there or what?
You can. I already did too, but I guess I'm gonna go I don't know how long I'll be there, but go embarrass myself on some karaoke if you want to go watch me.
Yeah, Tom put it in there. What happened? I'm messing things up over here. But yeah, you put it in there. I'll put it back in there too. But anything you guys got coming up that you want to talk about on your channels or whatever?
Nothing. No.
Actually, I put it on the wrong thing. Holy crap. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I just put it.
Did you?
That's the karaoke link, guys.
I put it in the karaoke chat, not this one. I'm a dumbass. Yeah,
there you go.
All right, guys, go to karaoke.
There's it. But yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you for hanging with us tonight, everybody in chat. At one point in time, we had like over 40 some people watching us. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Appreciate you, everybody in the chat that's been hanging out, chatting, and talking. I appreciate any companies out there that's watching. Appreciate your releases. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Alden. Appreciate you guys hanging here. And with that, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.